Chapter 178. Yu Qianheng shook his head. Actually, you guys don't know this, but I've seen your team fight before. I learned the soul power combo from you guys, and so did the tactical coordination. However, I haven't fully familiarized myself with it after a month of rush training. By the way, Shrek's 7 monsters should have a top-notch master tactician, right? Who is he? At this moment, Duguyin interjected. We want to thank him personally. Master tactician? Everyone turned to look at Wang Feng. At this moment, he was tidying up the small bench in the distance. He had been sitting there watching the match just now. What's the matter? Wang Feng was slightly taken aback when he saw everyone looking at him. Ahem, I'll introduce him to you next time. Tang Xin suddenly didn't want to talk about Brother Feng for the time being. Yu Tianheng and the others nodded. Finally, his gaze fell on Wang Feng. The other members of the Imperial Battle Team also looked at Wang Feng. In this match, there was only one person who defeated them, the monster captain who defeated him with a single punch. It was him who used a martial soul fusion skill to reverse the situation in an instant. It was also him who defeated Teacher Qin Ming. The most terrifying thing was that he didn't seem to have used any soul power or any soul skill. You guys are Shrek's 7 monsters. Monsters are monsters, right? The strength of the 7 of you are indeed monsters. Why isn't he among you? At this moment, Qin Ming stepped forward and asked. Hearing this, Tang San and the others laughed. Him? Ma Hongjun laughed. Of course he's not among us Shrek's 7 monsters, because he's a monster among monsters, our monster captain. It's really you. Yu Qianheng couldn't help but look at Wang Feng. Twin martial souls? You can even use 2 martial soul fusion skills. No wonder you're so strong. Twin? Wang Feng smiled. You used strong liquor to neutralize my jade Qilin purple poison. Was that your idea? Duguyin looked at Tang San. You used your blue-silver grass to form a palm leaf fan to blow away my jade Qilin purple poison. Was that your idea? Tang San first nodded, then shook his head. I was the one who thought of using strong alcohol to neutralize the jade Qilin purple poison. I'm also proficient in poisons, but it was the master tactician who told me how to form a fan of blue-silver grass to blow away your jade Qilin purple poison. Amazing, Duguyin praised. If there's a chance, I really want to meet this master tactician of yours. I'll spar with you next time. With that said, Yu Tianheng and the others followed Qin Ming out of the Soul Battle Arena. At this moment, applause sounded from the VIP room. This was a very exciting match. Regardless of whether it was the exciting battle between the first 7 people, or the Red Lotus Valkyrie Zhu Zhuqing's reversal of the battle situation, or the 2 mysterious experts from their respective teams that had yet to make a move, they had all drawn the most exciting and perfect conclusion to this battle. And this time, Wang Feng's title as the monster captain was undeniable. Twin martial souls, the captain of Shrek's 7 monsters. This mysterious monster captain had cast a hazy veil over the Shrek's 7 monsters. The 7 of them walked back to the lounge excitedly. Flinder, Grandmaster, and Zhao Wuji, who had been waiting for them, were all there. You guys did very well today. Grandmaster sighed slightly. The Imperial Do battle team was so cautious that it somewhat exceeded my expectations. I didn't expect you to be able to last until the last moment and drag the opponent down to only 3 people who still have the ability to fight. This is already beyond my expectations. With such a huge gap in soul power, the opponent's strict tactical arrangements, and strange and powerful soul power combo, you guys were able to persevere under such circumstances. You guys passed the 2nd stage of the exam with excellent results. Tang San and the others laughed. You brats, your luck is really bad. Flinder laughed loudly. You guys were treated so seriously by the Imperial Do battle team. They used the safest and most reliable method, and also the method with the highest chance of victory, but they still couldn't defeat you quickly. Actually, it's all thanks to Brother Feng. Otherwise, we would have lost, Tang San said embarrassedly. Wang Feng smiled awkwardly. If I didn't defeat Yu Qianheng in 1 punch in the 2-man team battle, they probably wouldn't have taken it so seriously. You can't say it like that. Grandmaster shook his head, The Imperial Do battle team's serious battle brought great pressure and growth to the 7 of them. It's more important than them winning directly. Wang Feng nodded in agreement. That was indeed the case. The stronger the battle team, the more experience they could gain. Only by facing such a powerful battle team would one's confidence increase. The more serious they were, the greater the pressure, the more confidence and experience they would gain after winning. Next, you guys will face the 3rd stage of the training. Grandmaster splashed cold water on them just as everyone was cheering. But you guys have a few days off. Why are you afraid? Everyone shook their heads. They were already used to it. Why would they be afraid? Plus, Wang Feng was here. Just thinking about it made them excited. At this time, a figure walked in from outside. Dean Flender, how are you guys? Disciple Qin Ming is here to greet you. This person was Qin Ming, who had changed his clothes. He was about 30 years old, and he looked very young. At this time, he was looking at Flender and Zhao Wuji with excitement, kneeling on one knee with a respectful expression. Haha, you brat. I thought you forgot about us. Zhao Wuji laughed and said, That Ming Qin who was down there just now, was that you? Hearing this, Shrek's group of 7 was shocked. The strongest person down there was Qin Ming. Naturally, it was Ming Qin, the last person to make a move. He was a rank 40 soul elder with a mysterious mutated beast martial soul, the Ash Firewolf. Wasn't he a member of the Imperial Do battle team? Qin Ming smiled embarrassedly. That's me. I'm the leader of the Imperial Do battle team. Yu Heng told me about what happened to him and asked me to join the battle temporarily. He wanted to see if the person who defeated him with one punch was one of Shrek's 7 monsters. Qin Ming looked at Wang Feng. I didn't expect him to be here. Leader? Shrek's 7 monsters exchanged glances. No wonder he's so strong. It's just as I thought. He suppressed his soul power to participate. He's here for Brother Feng. Tang San thought to himself, Brat, you can relax. Flender patted Qin Ming's shoulder and said with a smile, Come, let me introduce you to Shrek's 7 monsters. I don't need to say more, right? They're your juniors. As for this monster leader, you guys just fought. I'll introduce him to you later. In a chapter. Chapter 179. Qin Ming nodded. This monster captain's strength must be extraordinary. Qin Ming wondered if he was a teacher at Shrek Academy. Flender pointed at the Grandmaster. You should be familiar with him. He's Yu Xiaojiang, my brother. He's also a teacher at Shrek Academy and the teacher of these 7 kids. Qin Ming was stunned. He seemed to understand something and said respectfully to the Grandmaster. So you're the Grandmaster? Shrek's 7 monsters are so powerful. The Grandmaster tactician behind them must be you, right? This Grandmaster's reputation was too great. Qin Ming didn't believe he didn't know him. On the way here, Qin Ming had been wondering who the Grandmaster tactician behind Shrek's 7 monsters was. It could be said that this Grandmaster tactician not only made Shrek's 7 monsters so powerful, even the Imperial Dipper battle team indirectly became stronger. It could be seen. The Grandmaster was stunned. Grandmaster tactician? Yes, Qin Ming said with a face full of admiration. Tian Heng told me before that the match where your Shrek Academy crushed the Battle Berserker squad could be said to be an exquisite match. If these 7 kids didn't have a Grandmaster tactician behind them, they wouldn't have such tacit cooperation, endless soul skill combos, and all kinds of exquisite ideas to break moves, right? In the previous match, the Thousand Arms Azura used his blue-silver grass to blow the Jade Qilin purple poison back to the Imperial Dipper battle team. It could be said that it was a very exciting point. Otherwise, the Imperial Dipper battle team would have 2 more members left. Qin Ming said with a face full of admiration. At this time, Tang San and the others covered their mouths and laughed. Even Flender and Zhao Wuji looked at Qin Ming strangely. What? Did I say something wrong? Qin Ming was stunned. Yes. The Grandmaster shook his head. But there's one thing wrong. I'm not this Grandmaster tactician. Then this Grandmaster tactician is... Qin Ming was stunned. That's me. Wang Feng felt that Qin Ming had bragged enough and walked out with a smile. Qin Ming. Qin Ming looked at Wang Feng in confusion. From experience, This master tactician should be a young man with rich experience and a deep understanding of martial souls and soul skills. He should be at least 40 years old. Master was a perfect match for this identity. How could it be this monster captain? Judging from his voice, he was probably only in his teens. How could he be the master tactician behind Shrek's 7 monsters? That's him. Flinder laughed heartily. That's the kid. Those wicked ideas of Shrek's 7 monsters. If he wasn't the one who came up with them, then he would have beaten them up. Shrek's 7 monsters. Hearing this, Qin Ming immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. Flanders is right. Although I'm their teacher, I'm only responsible for their training and imparting all kinds of knowledge. Grandmaster said calmly, when it comes to battle tactics and soul skill combinations, most of them were thought up by this monster captain. Qin Ming's body slightly trembled. Wasn't this too terrifying? Not only were their tactics so powerful, but they were also so strong. Don't you have any weaknesses? I didn't expect that after so many years, Shrek would produce such a genius. Qin Ming smiled bitterly. I wonder what type of soul master your monster captain is? I just fought with him, but I really didn't feel it. He couldn't feel it at all. The other party even used his martial soul, so his soul power should be gone. He defeated him with just his physical strength. Especially after those 3 seconds. It was as if he had changed into a different person. He obviously didn't use any soul skill. But how could he suddenly become so powerful? He, Brother Feng, is an auxiliary-type soul master. Xiao Wu said with a smile. His strongest ability now is his auxiliary ability. Qin Ming. Wang Feng glared at Xiao Wu and said, let's not delay them anymore. Let's go and recalculate the points and get the money while we're at it. With that, Wang Feng led everyone out of the room. His strongest ability is really an auxiliary-type soul master. Qin Ming swallowed a mouthful of water and looked at Wang Feng's back. Theoretically, yes. Grandmaster shook his head. That Golden Lotus's auxiliary ability was indeed too strong. It could be seen from his martial soul fusion skill with Rong Rong. Qin Ming sighed softly and started chatting with them about other things. The 8 of them went to the Great Soul Arena again to calculate the points. All 7 of them had reached the Silver Warrior Soul level, and the Team Warrior Soul had reached the Gold Warrior Soul level. This news could be said to be unbelievable to Shrek's team. Gold Warrior Soul level. Level 30 reached the Gold Warrior Soul level after Manager AO of the Great Soul Arena handed a black card to everyone. He couldn't help but sigh. I have been in the Great Soul Arena for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen a level 30 Gold Warrior Soul level. You guys haven't lost a single match until now. It's simply a miracle. But don't worry, in the entire Heaven Do Empire, I'm afraid there is no level 30 Gold Warrior Soul team. Among the same level, you guys are the strongest. Everyone laughed. Wang Feng looked at the group of people and wondered if the other teams he encountered in the future would be stronger. At night, the hotel where the Imperial Battle Team was located. Yu Qianheng and the others were about to return to the hotel when a figure suddenly stood in front of them. Uncle, it's you? Yu Qianheng was taken aback. The others were also slightly stunned. Qianheng, long time no see. Let's talk alone. Grandmaster looked at Yu Qianheng and said lightly. Yu Qianheng asked the 6 of them to return to the hotel first and followed Grandmaster on the street. Uncle, why are you here? Yu Qianheng looked at Grandmaster with mixed feelings. He had always missed this uncle of his. When he was young, they were very close. But later, he was expelled from the family. Qianheng, you have grown up. Grandmaster looked up at the night sky slightly. You have grown up. Today's match was very exciting. You are also very smart. It seems like you guys are doing well. Yu Qianheng was taken aback when he heard Grandmaster Ao's words. Uncle, Grandpa, and Dad have always been thinking about you. In fact, they all hope that you can go back. Grandmaster Ao shook his head. It's impossible. Those who were expelled want to go back to the family. Unless the patriarch agrees, it's impossible. Besides, I am already used to it. If you ask me to go back now, I will live a lowly life. Yu Qianheng fell silent and continued to ask, Uncle, did you watch the match today? But we still lost. We have embarrassed the family. Grandmaster Ao turned around and patted Yu Tianheng on the shoulder. A smile appeared on his stiff face. You guys did very well in today's competition, and every step you took was impeccable. You did not embarrass the family. You have grown up. You have become smarter and more cautious. And the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon is known as the #1 beast martial spear on the continent, but the family has a fatal flaw. Now, I don't see this fatal flaw in you. Grandmaster Ao said. Yu Tianheng was stunned. What flaw? Pride. Grandmaster said lightly. You put down your pride and went all out to deal with a team that seemed to be weaker than you. Yu Tianheng was deeply touched. Uncle, actually, it was a team I met at the Great Soul Arena in Soto that day. They are also today's opponents. They made me put down the pride of the family, Yu Tianheng said with some emotion, because they knocked away all my pride with one punch. So, I will be more cautious in the future. Grandmaster Ao was speechless. And this chapter ends. Chapter 180. After Wang Feng's group finished calculating their points, they went to a restaurant to celebrate. Not long after, Flinder and Zhao Wuji brought Qin Ming to the restaurant. These kids are so talented. I want to represent Heaven Do Imperial Academy and get them in. Qin Ming looked at the 8 and sighed. Junior brothers and sisters, I'm treating today. Eat to your heart's content. Actually, there was some ambiguity in this statement. Tang San and the others looked at each other. After all, Qin Ming was from Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Just eat. This is your senior's goodwill. Are you afraid I'll steal you away with a meal? Flinder looked at them with annoyance. Qin Ming was also stunned. He immediately reacted and laughed. Principal, you're right. Wang Feng casually ordered a meal and handed it to the waiter. Wang Feng knew full well that Grandmaster Ho really did want them to join the Heaven Do Imperial Academy as Shrek's 7 monsters. Big Brother Feng, you're really not polite. You're the one who takes advantage of others. Tang Sen coughed softly a few times. What's there to be afraid of? Maybe Grandmaster really wants us to join Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Wang Feng smiled and drank a cup of ale. Flinder's expression changed. At this time, Grandmaster walked over. Lin Feng is right. You can bring them to Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Grandmaster calmly walked over from the other side. He had just finished talking with Yu Tianheng. Flinder immediately stood up with a stiff expression. Little gang, I don't like what you're saying. Even if they're from the last batch, they're still Shrek Academy's students. Do you think we can't teach these kids better? Grandmaster looked at him and slowly said, We can teach them better. We can teach better, but there are some things that we can teach. Shrek Academy can't give them. What can't you give them? Zhao Wuji stood up and asked. Qin Ming seemed to understand something. He looked at Shrek's 7 monsters and sighed. He came from Heaven Do Imperial Academy and knew that the teachers were good. However, the conditions were too bad. First of all, it had never been officially registered in the Empire, nor could it be registered. Secondly, the training environment was not good. Wang Feng understood as well. To put it bluntly, the only thing Shrek Academy could rely on was its teachers. However, if a school wanted its students to grow, it needed more. For example, research institutions, knowledge reserves, various laboratories, and so on. More importantly, he had to have a legitimate identity. Only with a legitimate identity could he participate in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. Only the academies that had been registered by the Empire had the right to participate in the competition. In essence, Shrek Academy was a private, unlicensed university. It wasn't qualified to participate in international competitions. Lin Feng, you seem to know. Can you tell them? The master glanced at Wang Feng. Seeing that the kid was eating to his heart's content, he said. Flinder's gaze immediately fell on Wang Feng, harboring malicious intentions. Wang Feng coughed a few times and said, I've paid attention to it. I think there are 2 main reasons. First, it's to qualify for the Continental Elite Academy Tournament. Second, it's to have a better cultivation environment, such as a simulated cultivation environment. After he finished speaking, Flinder was stunned. Then he fell silent. Zhao Wuji fell silent as well. The entire continent, these 3 words, could one imagine how glorious this was? Not to mention the rewards. as a soul master who didn't want to shine on the stage of the continent. Furthermore, they were geniuses. The simulated cultivation environment was even more important. It was a high-end cultivation environment. In Wang Feng's words, it was like a laboratory in a top university. They could learn many things that normal universities couldn't. But they're still Shrek Academy students. The Academy is our 20 years of hard work. Flinder glared at the master, his tone carrying a hint of anger. I think Master wants us to join Heavendo Academy, but become independent, Wang Feng hurriedly said to prevent a quarrel. Little 3 and the others are still Shrek's 7 monsters. After entering Heavendo Academy, they will still be taught by Shrek Academy's teachers. We will keep our name, but we will still graduate under Heavendo Academy's name. Most importantly, they can't stop us from leaving Heavendo Academy. Actually, this condition was a little harsh. If it was a normal academy, they would definitely agree. However, Heavendo Imperial Academy had a noble system and the Heavendo Empire behind them. They definitely wouldn't agree. Qi Ming thought to himself, Lin Feng is right. That's what I mean. The master patted Flinder's shoulder. Flinder, I know that Shrek Academy is your many years of hard work. However, are you willing to let these kids lose the things I'm talking about? Do you want their future achievements to be limited by Shrek Academy's conditions? Don't you want them to go even further? Don't you want the name of Shrek's 7 monsters to resound throughout the continent? The master's 3 consecutive questions calmed Flinder down a little, but there was a bit of dejection between his eyebrows. Qi Ming also understood the master's meaning. He felt that this was a good idea, but the dean and Heavendo Imperial Academy might not accept it. However, he could still give it a try. Teacher, actually, this is borrowing the chicken to lay the eggs. Ma Hongjun walked to Flinder's side and glanced at Qi Ming. He whispered, the great master wants us to obtain a better cultivation environment in the Heavendo Academy, but he can just leave in a huff after the deed is done. It's like using the Heavendo Academy as a chicken to hatch us. After all, teacher, your chicken is a little malnourished. I'm afraid it'll be malnourished when it hatches. Wang Feng. Flinder. Everyone, it's not a bad idea. Flinder was stunned for a long time before he nodded with a smile. However, there was a lingering gloom in his eyes. Wang Feng understood this gloom. He had thought it through, but he couldn't avoid feelings. He couldn't accept it all at once. Only time could slowly erase it. It was like a couple who had been in love for more than 10 years. Due to various reasons, they broke up peacefully. However, sadness was unavoidable. No matter how much he thought about it, it was useless. Just like that, the group finished their meal and returned to Shrek Academy. In the following days, they began 2 months of concentrated soul power training. Because there were too many battles in the first 4 months, they needed time to digest everything. Naturally, the best way to digest this was through soul power training. At the same time, the master also used Wang Feng's method of training and cultivating at the same time. He allowed everyone to try cultivating under various conditions. Simply put, he wanted them to be like Wang Feng and cultivate at the same time. However, this wasn't going to be easy. In a chapter. Chapter 181. The most fundamental reason was that Wang Feng had the meteoric tear, which could speed up the absorption of soul power. Even during normal times, his body would automatically increase his soul power, although the effect was very slow. It would take a long time before it could be seen. Hence, it was impossible for everyone to achieve this. Over these 2 months, Wang Feng would still go to the periphery of the Great Stardow Forest. He would go to other soul-hunting forests to fight and search for the 3 little fellows. He would return to the academy 2 or 3 times a week. He would also continue to practice the mysterious underworld spike. There were at least 10,000 mysterious underworld spikes on the mysterious underworld armor. It would take a lot of time to control all of them. The interesting thing was that Wang Feng realized that he could form all kinds of weapons if he controlled the mysterious underworld spikes. However, this required more precise training. For example, he could combine hundreds of mysterious underworld spikes to form a short spear, long sword, dagger, etc. After combining them, their strength would also increase. Their attack would still be corrosive, and they would be extremely heavy. Most importantly, they would look extremely cool and pretentious. Wang Feng was never tired of this. However, doing this required an enormous amount of spiritual power and exquisite control over soul power. Even with Wang Feng's current abilities, he could barely combine more than 100 mysterious underworld spikes into a single dagger, and he even had to fuse them together to scatter them. He estimated that he would need 1 or 2 years to control more mysterious underworld spikes. The stronger he became, the more obvious the changes would be. It was impossible to make the mysterious underworld armor change so much in such a short period of time. One night, Wang Feng didn't come back today. Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu were lying on the bed in the dormitory. The two of them were wearing light clothes, and they seemed to be talking about something. Brother Feng is used to going out to train. He was like this when he was in the nodding academy. Xiao Wu nodded and pulled the blanket away slightly. Rongrong, are you thinking about him again? Hee, your skin is so good. Let me touch it. Ning Rongrong quickly grabbed Xiao Wu's hand and touched her leg. Who's thinking about him? I'm just afraid that our martial soul fusion skill will be rusty. Rongrong, do you want that place to become bigger? Tell me, are you envious of Zhu Qing? Xiao Wu hurriedly slapped away Ning Rongrong's hand that was carelessly touching her body and chuckled. The greatest effect of Ning Rongrong and Wang Feng's fusion skill was to turn Ning Rongrong into plus, making her look like a 20-year-old. Naturally, it was also big. This was Ning Rongrong's favorite part. I didn't. Ning Rongrong refused to admit it. I heard that Oscar and Wang Feng's martial soul fusion skill is the flaming sausage. Do you remember? Last time they tried it once. The fried chicken with roasted sausages is delicious. It's simply a peerless delicacy. Not only that, it can also give us a double amplification effect to the roasted sausages, as well as a super strong flame effect. It can also stimulate the potential in our body, allowing us to achieve a temporary burst of strength. Hearing Ning Rongrong's words, Xiao Wu suddenly felt a little hungry. The flaming sausage was Wang Feng and Oscar's martial soul fusion skill. After using it, the roasted sausages made seemed to be a peerless delicacy. After eating one could feel the refreshing and spicy feeling that made one's taste buds explode. One could make everyone sweat profusely, even Dean Flender and the others. The effect was also equally abnormal. The flaming sausage could allow a soul warrior's strength to erupt. They had a super strong self-recovery ability. Their eyes were like fire, and they would not feel pain. They would be in a state of extreme excitement. I don't care about strength or not, but the flaming sausage is really delicious. Xiao Wu couldn't help but swallow her saliva. In the past 2 months, Wang Feng had gradually tried to use a martial soul fusion skill with the others. Needless to say, the one with Oscar was the most fun. As for the others, he hadn't tried it yet. He estimated that it would take other forms. However, I feel that Brother Feng and Zhu Qing's fusion skill is really cool. Xiao Wu giggled. That day with the Imperial battle team, I felt that Zhu Qing was like a Valkyrie descending to the mortal world. Compared to you, a fairy descending to the mortal world, it's a completely different experience. Ning Rongrong weakly nodded. Xiao Wu, do you think that all men like to be big there? Ning Rongrong touched her skin that was envied by Xiao Wu and Zhu Qing. Her skin was the best among the 3 girls. Compared to Zhu Qing's figure, Xiao Wu's legs. This was her specialty. Of course. Didn't you see that damn fatty? When he went out, the first thing he looked at was those girls' breasts. Xiao Wu said happily. But my brother is different. Then help me rub it. I heard that it will become bigger if you rub it. Or I'll rub it for you too. Ning Rongrong whispered. I don't want to. Why would it become so big? Didn't you hear Zhu Qing complain to us a while ago? She said it's too big and it's too troublesome to train. Xiao Wu hurriedly covered her face with a blanket. If you want to rub it, you should ask your future husband to rub it for you. I don't want you to rub it for me. Hee. If you don't rub it for me, are you going to rub it for Tang San? Ning Rongrong chuckled. Rongrong, you're dead. Tang San is my brother. Xiao Wu immediately blushed from her neck to her forehead. However, she quickly retorted, "Then you should ask Brother Feng to rub it for you too." The two of them had sacrificed 800 to kill one's enemy. Ning Rongrong's face also turned red. Her fair and delicate skin immediately seemed to be filled with blood, and her head seemed to be steaming. "You damn Xiao Wu. I hate you. What nonsense are you talking about? Ning Rongrong, would let those stinky men rub it for me. Speaking of which, I envy you. You didn't see how Tang San did for you in the Great Star Doe Forest last time. It's obvious how important you are to him. I don't know when I'll meet a boy like him. Perhaps all girls would yearn for a boy who would sacrifice himself for them. You'll meet him sooner or later." Xiao Wu blushed and said, "I'm Brother Feng's family. Of course he would do that. I would do the same if it were me. I believe Brother Feng would do the same. You're so beautiful and have so many people chasing after you. There must be a lot of boys like him. It's just that you haven't noticed. It's different. I'm the little princess of the 7-treasure glazed tile sect. A lot of people chase after me. My beauty is only part of it. It's mostly because of my identity." Ning Rongrong shook her head. She knew what she was thinking. But we're still young. There are many feelings that we can't explain clearly. Zhu Qing is the same. She doesn't talk much, but I can feel that she's under a lot of pressure. This pressure makes her not want to involve others. Even if the 7 of us are close, she still wants us to know about her. Only she is willing to tell us. Xiao Wu nodded. She could feel it too. In the dormitory, 2 girls whispered to each other. "Let's sleep." Hee. Brother Feng said that Brother Feng will be back tomorrow. Brother Feng also made a few good things for us. After all, we're leaving tomorrow. Really? That's great. I'm just curious about what Tang San will make. Nothing else. End of chapter. Chapter 182. 50 days of soul power training passed by in the blink of an eye. Wang Feng returned to the academy from outside. His soul power was not far from rank 35. In fact, his soul power cultivation speed was several times faster than the 7 people in the academy combined. However, the soul beasts in the Great Stardow Forest are indeed very strong. There were a few times when I had to use 5th gear to barely win. 50 days didn't change Wang Feng much, but he was a little emotional. The Great Stardow Forest was too big, and there were countless soul beasts in it. Some of the strong 1,000-year soul beasts were troublesome for Wang Feng. He didn't want to kill soul beasts, so he only defeated them. He needed to control them in battle. However, it was also because of this that many soul beasts in the Great Stardow Forest were familiar with such a special soul master. Some brave and battle-hungry soul beasts even came to challenge Wang Feng the second day back at the academy. It was a sunny day, and everyone had packed their luggage. They looked at the Shrek Academy with nostalgia. They had been here for half a year, and they had some feelings for it. This place was very remote, but it was very special. Wang Feng looked at the Shrek Academy silently. He didn't spend much time in the academy over the past half a year, and sometimes he would go back to the Holy Soul Village to take a look. However, there were many memories in this place. The rest of them were also a little emotional. Flinder, Zhao Wuji, and a few other teachers couldn't help but feel a little sour. "Let's go to the Heaven Do Imperial Academy." In the end, Flinder waved his hand and took down the school's plaque, taking it with him. The Heaven Do Imperial Academy was naturally in the Heaven Do Imperial City. The Heaven Do Imperial City was located in the northeast of the empire. It was the center of power in the Heaven Do Empire and one of the 2 largest cities in the entire continent. There were more than 1 million soldiers in the city, and it was very powerful. Wang Feng couldn't help but think of a figure when he thought of the Heaven Do Imperial City. Qian Rinxue should be in the Heaven Do Imperial City, right? She should be the crown prince of the Heaven Do Empire. Xue Qinghe. Wang Fengxin couldn't help but be cautious. For the past few months, he had not met this Qian Rinxue in the great arena of souls in Soto City. It was as if he had disappeared. If they went to Heaven Do Imperial City now, it was likely that they would run into each other. In order to reach the Heaven Do Imperial City, one would have to pass through the entire Sylvis Kingdom, which was north of the Balik Kingdom. Then, One would have to head east to reach the Heaven-Do Imperial City. They had to travel more than 2,000 kilometers. 2,000 kilometers was considered very long. It was equivalent to a round trip from Beijing to Shanghai in Lin Fan's previous life. If it was a plane, it could be done in a day. Unfortunately, there were no planes here, so they could only walk. Fortunately, they were all soul masters, so it wouldn't take more than a few days. All right, child. From now on, we have to travel at full speed. After Flinder left the Shrek Academy, he seemed to be in high spirits. It was obvious that he had thought things through in the past 2 months and had let go of his worries. Next, you have to keep up with my speed. If you fall behind, I won't care. With that, Flinder took the lead and rushed out. He was an agility system soul master, so his soul power was abundant. Even the other teachers might not be able to keep up with him. This was especially true for Tangdo's food-type soul master, Xiao Xian. He had to rely on Zhao Wuji's soul power to carry him. Behind him, Xiao Xian couldn't help but grumble. He had no choice but to use his soul power to keep up. Wang Feng, you have to carry me. I can't keep up. Ning Rongrong panted as she spoke from behind. As support-type soul masters, it was easy for Oscar and Ning Rongrong to fall behind. Oscar was carried by Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun. Ning Rongrong originally wanted Zhu Zhuqing and Xiao Wu to carry them, but when she saw Wang Feng's carefree appearance, she couldn't help but speak up. Men and women shouldn't touch each other. I won't carry them, Wang Feng said. Everyone. Ning Rongrong was angry. She snorted, what do you mean men and women shouldn't touch each other? That night, I even kissed. Halfway through her sentence, Ning Rongrong quickly came back to her senses. She covered her mouth and looked at the other 6 people looking at her. She suddenly became nervous. Kiss what? Wang Feng stared at Ning Rongrong. That night? Could it be that everyone was drunk that night? He remembered that night, when Wang Feng fell asleep. He even had a dream. He dreamed of his previous life, and then he was licked by a puppy. Could it be that Ning Rongrong took advantage of me? That night, I saw with my own eyes that you were hugging a girl. It was very intimate. Why didn't you say that men and women shouldn't touch each other? Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes and quickly said righteously. Wang Feng's face was black with question marks. What did I hug a girl? I didn't. Don't talk nonsense. Don't accuse me. Wang Feng glared at Ning Rongrong and coughed a few times. However, Wang Feng's words made it more obvious that he was trying to cover something up. You. Ning Rongrong was stunned. She looked at Wang Feng and said angrily, did you really do that? Who was that girl? She just wanted to change the topic. Who would have thought? Wang Feng. Big brother Feng, when did this happen? Xiao Wu asked in surprise. What kind of girl was she? Yeah, I've never seen her before. Tangsun was also puzzled. Zhu Zhuqing also looked at Wang Feng with a puzzled expression. There was a hidden sharpness in her eyes. TSK, you're hiding it well. Ma Hongjun chuckled. You're indeed the monster captain. You managed to hook up with her without anyone noticing. Wang Feng's face darkened. He said grumpily, look at me. If I had to hug someone, it would be a girl hugging me. Who am I, Wang Feng? I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. As he spoke, Wang Feng sped up. He overtook the 7 of them and followed behind Flinder. Bastard. Wang Feng must have had someone outside. Ning Rongrong said angrily. Everyone was speechless. What did it have to do with them? Don't worry. Big brother Feng has high standards. If he doesn't like you, why would he like someone else? Xiao Wu quickly comforted Ning Rongrong. As she spoke, she sped up with Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong felt as if she had been shot in the heart by an arrow. Xiao Wu, speak more if you can, Zhu Zhuqing said in a low voice. After that, she also sped up. Ning Rongrong. A few hours later, the 7 of them finally couldn't hold on any longer. At this time, Flinder also stopped and smiled. However, the smile on his face immediately froze. You brat, how can you still keep up? Flinder looked at Wang Feng in disbelief. In a chapter. Chapter 183. I can last longer. Wang Feng chuckled. Teacher, could it be that you can't do it anymore? Well, when a man reaches middle age, generally speaking, Flinder immediately glared at Wang Feng. Lin Feng, your soul power should be somewhat special, right? Master C, who had been led by Flinder, said, in my opinion, although your soul power is only at rank 34, it's more durable than a normal rank 30 soul power. Master is indeed a master. Wang Feng nodded slightly. His soul power had been compressed and stored. It seemed to be only at rank 34, but it was super durable. Is there such a strange thing? Zhao Wuji couldn't help but say. Could it be a special cultivation method? What kind of cultivation method can cultivate such a special soul power? Master shook his head. He had never heard of such a method before. It's not a method. It's just an example. After thinking for a moment, Wang Feng took out a piece of foam and said, look, the size of this foam is equivalent to the rank 30 soul power of an ordinary soul master. Flinder and the others nodded. Then, Wang Feng took out a bottle of water and poured it into the square foam. The foam absorbed the water and didn't expand, but it became heavier. This is probably my soul power. Seeing this, Flinder and the others instantly understood. You absorb more soul power? Master was surprised. Is it because of your physique? Wang Feng nodded. It's because of my physique. I found that my soul power can absorb more and compress it. The body of an ordinary soul master can't withstand this kind of soul power compression. But my body is different from ordinary people. I can undergo more training. This is also the reason why I use different methods to speed up my soul power cultivation. Suddenly, the master was enlightened. He was curious. Why did Wang Feng know the cultivation method of training and running at the same time, but his soul power rank wasn't much higher than the others? He didn't expect it to be like this. Wang Feng didn't mention the essence of the meteoric tear, but it was indeed a part of the reason. The meteoric tear was the key to compressing and purifying soul power. I see. Indeed, soul power is closely related to a soul master's body. Master felt that Wang Feng was right. It was also related to his theory. This could also explain why Lin Feng's physical fitness had far exceeded that of a soul master of the same kind. To Wang Feng, this was not a secret. As long as he fought, it would be obvious. At this moment, it was even more obvious that he was in a hurry. Furthermore, he had told the Grandmaster and the teachers that as long as he didn't reveal the secret of the meteoric tear, it was only a matter of soul power compression and purification. Furthermore, he hadn't revealed the amount of soul power he had compressed and purified, as well as the degree of comparison. In addition, the Grandmaster and the others would not tell others about these secrets. You're so young, yet you're so persistent. When you're old, you'll regret it. Flinder snorted coldly. He naturally heard it clearly too. It was just that he was still brooding over Wang Feng's words earlier, thinking about how he, Flinder, did not seem to have a wife until now. No matter how long he could last, he would not be able to bring out his full potential. It was really hard for him to refute. After Tang San and the others left, they rested for a while and continued their journey. It had to be said that soul masters were very fast. He had traveled at least 500 miles in one day. It would take at most 5 days to reach Heaven Do Imperial City. The next day, they entered the capital of Silvis. They planned to stay for a while and replenish their food and water. Flinder even generously took them to a hotel in the capital and had a good meal. After eating, at the request of the Grandmaster, they naturally had to go to the great soul fighting arena of Silvis for a team battle, since they hadn't had an official team battle for 2 months. Silvis City was the capital of the Kingdom of Silvis. It was bigger than Soto City, so the great soul fighting arena was naturally more outstanding. I'm sorry, everyone. We don't have a golden battle soul team of the same level as you in our city. The person in charge of the Great Soul Fighting Arena regretfully told Shrek's 7 monsters this news. Wang Fengxian's heart skipped a beat. He remembered that there was a demon god team in Silvis City, which was Tang San's opponent. And this demon god team was a small turning point for Shrek's 7 monsters. That was killing. Killing in the truest sense. Before this, other than Tang San, the rest of them were all children in their teens, and none of them had killed anyone before. Is there no other way? The Grandmaster asked. Yes, there is. The only way is to challenge someone of a higher level. The person in charge thought for a while and said, it's very dangerous to challenge someone of a higher level. Because you're in the 30s, the Silver Battle Soul team is in the 40s. The Golden Battle Soul team of Shrek's 7 monsters was indeed a little special. They had won too many matches in a row, so naturally, they had accumulated more points. There was no Golden Battle Soul team of the same level. Sure, the Grandmaster suddenly said, by the way, do you have a particularly brutal battle team here? The kind that will definitely cause severe injuries and break limbs when they attack? Hearing this, everyone except Wang Fengxin was a little confused. Flinder looked at the Grandmaster in surprise. Xiao Gang. The Grandmaster waved his hand to stop Flinder's persuasion. The person in charge was also a little surprised by the Grandmaster's request, but he didn't hesitate and said in a low voice, this kind of battle team. We have 2 of them here. One of them is the Demon God battle team. I believe all of you can feel it from a name. This battle team, everyone is extremely ferocious. In every battle, they will cause great damage to their opponents. Breaking an arm or a leg is considered a light punishment. The Silver Battle Soul team of level 40 is one of the most brutal battle teams in our arena. One of them, Wang Fengxin, was surprised. In addition to the Demon Battle team, the other team is the God-Slaying Battle team, which is at level 49. The captains of these 2 teams are brothers. They have formed different battle teams. The God-Slaying Battle team is stronger than the Demon Battle team. They're almost at the level of Golden Battle Soul. When they attack, they are even more terrifying. They will definitely kill. The person in charge lowered his voice. Hearing this, the 7 members of Shrek's 7 monsters felt a chill down their spines. Let's choose this Demon Battle team. The Grandmaster thought for a while and said, just arrange them for Shrek's 7 monsters. The person in charge was stunned. He looked at Tang San and the others hesitantly and quickly went to arrange it. Xiao Gang, this is too dangerous, Flinder said in a low voice. Tang San and the others also looked at the Grandmaster with a puzzled expression. Although the Grandmaster was very strict with them, everyone could feel that the Grandmaster cared for them. Why would he arrange such a battle team for them? Dangerous? The Grandmaster shook his head and said calmly, if they don't experience this kind of danger now, they won't have the chance in the future. Do you still remember when you and I were training? They have to go through this stage, the sooner the better. Otherwise, when the time comes, they won't be able to do it. By then, it will be too late to save them. Flinder sighed and didn't say anything in the end. The other teachers were also experienced. Naturally, they knew what the Grandmaster meant. Grandmaster, is Wang Feng going to fight with us too? Ning Rongrong asked. This demon battle team is so brutal. What if an accident happens? Facing such a battle team, Ning Rongrong felt insecure. If Wang Feng were to fight, she would feel much better. End of chapter. Chapter 184. Master shook his head and said, Lin Feng has other arrangements. Don't worry, just listen to Xiao San. Didn't Xiao San make one for each of you? Just use it against the Demon God battle team. Master's purpose was to let Shrek's 7 monsters kill people. That was why Master allowed them to use the Zhuge Divine crossbow made by Tang San. Wang Feng knew this, so he didn't plan to fight. Everyone's eyes lit up when they heard this. All right, move by. Bring them to prepare first. I have something to talk to Lin Feng alone. The Grandmaster waved at the crowd. Soon, only the Grandmaster and Wang Feng were left. Lin Feng, how's your royal battle team against the God Slayer? Master asked Wang Feng. Of course, Master wouldn't let Wang Feng go. Wang Feng scratched his head. He had experience killing people when he was 6 years old. When the second form of the Red Lotus was activated, it directly burned the Soul Master, who was over rank 40, into ashes. He didn't feel anything because it wasn't bloody at all. In the next 6 years, he didn't really kill people, but he saw too many scenes of people dying. There were Soul Masters dying almost every day in the Soul Hunting Forest. And the miserable scene was extremely terrifying. Many soul beasts were ferocious and directly ate the internal organs of those soul beasts. Wang Feng had already passed the stage where he would vomit when he saw a dead person. Therefore, even if Wang Feng hadn't really killed anyone, his mental fortitude was already very strong. However, Wang Feng naturally wouldn't reject Master's request. No problem. My royal battle team also has a silver warrior soul. Wang Feng said, Royal battle team, 9-1. With this special identity in a one-man team, he had been to Soto City a few times in the past 2 months and participated in a few soul duels. As long as he maintained his winning streak, even if he went once or twice a week, it would be enough. Speaking of reputation, his royal battle team was only slightly inferior to Shrek's 7 monsters. They were also the most mysterious. Good. Then be careful. Master looked at Wang Feng with admiration. Both teams are at rank 49. Let me see how strong you are. Master had estimated Wang Feng's strength, but he didn't know the details, but Master was very assured. Master, you might not be able to see it. Wang Feng grinned. I'm afraid my battle time will be very short. Hearing this, the Master looked at him with even more astonishment. Wang Feng smiled without saying anything. Before long, Sylvis Great Soul Arena, the Central Soul Dueling Area. Today, the Central Soul Dueling Area was exceptionally lively because there would be 2 extremely special team battles. The first match was the infamous Demon God Battle team being challenged by a team from Shrek's 7 monsters. Challenging someone of a higher level was a very fresh and exciting thing. In addition, the Demon God Battle team was really famous. Although the Demon God Battle team was extremely ferocious and many battle teams were unwilling to fight with them, in reality, the audience wanted to see them fight even more. The reason was very simple. It was because the battles of the Demon God Battle team could stimulate the most primitive desire of humans to vent. The Great Soul Arena itself was a place for many spectators to vent their frustrations. They were willing to watch wonderful battles, but they also wanted to see bloody battles. The second round was even more interesting. The God Slayer Battle team, known as the #1 battle team in Sylvis, would make a rare move against a mysterious royal battle team. Although there was some distance between the Sylvia Kingdom and the Ballot Kingdom, some spectators in the Great Soul Arena were also from the Ballot Kingdom. Whether it was the Shrek's 7 monsters or the royal battle team, they all knew some of them. The Shrek 7 monsters is the trump card battle team from the Ballot Kingdom Soto City. They're the only Gold Soul battle team at level 30. As for the royal battle team, it's even more interesting. He registered 7 people in this battle team, but only 1 person appears every time. It's also known as a one-man battle team. This person is called 9-Open. He's very mysterious. So far, his martial soul, soul ring, age, appearance, and origin are all unknown. Cheers sounded in the Central Soul Dueling Area, but there were already many people talking about it, but their voices were very soft. There were not many who really knew the specific combat strength of the 2 battle teams. It was just that no one believed their reputation. On the big screen in the betting area, the odds of the 4 battle teams were displayed. Obviously, this royal battle team had the highest odds. The Shrek's 7 monsters were still okay, 117. This royal battle team, directly 130. What kind of concept was this? If you bet on the royal battle team for 1 gold coin and 1, you can get 30 coins. A whole 30 times. On the Shrek's 7 monsters side, there were at least a few, plus Flinder and a few others. But no one bought the royal battle team at all. Not one. There wasn't even a single speculator. What kind of joke was this? A one-man battle team? Whoever bought it was an idiot. Even if the Great Soul Arena forcibly controlled the odds later, no one bought it. Only 1 person. I say, little gang, you want to buy this royal battle team? Flinder asked curiously. Could it be that you know the details of this royal battle team? Only the Master and Wang Feng knew that the royal battle team was already 9-Open. Even the other 6 people who registered didn't know the specific identity of 9-Open. They only received 10 gold coins in Soto City, just a name. They couldn't find out even if they wanted to. I know a thing or two. The Master smiled and bet all his private money on the royal battle team. TSK, you don't even believe in your own disciple? Flinder couldn't help but laugh. You don't bet on our Shrek's 7 monsters, but bet on the royal battle team? I have been in Soto City for 2 months. I've been to Soto City and heard a little about this one-man team. To be honest, I suspect that it's a gimmick created by the great arena of souls in Soto City. They specialize in doing some dirty tricks to attract attention. Flinder thought so, let alone others. Indeed, this one-man battle team, most people only thought it was a gimmick. The master laughed a few times, which was rare. If he hadn't secretly hired 6 ordinary soul masters for Lin Feng and registered the team name, maybe he would have thought it was a gimmick. You will know when the time comes. The master handed 5,000 gold soul coins to the person in charge, pretending to be mysterious. After the two bought the bets, they came to the spectator stand. At this time, in the great soul arena below, there was a burst of wild cheers, and almost everyone's eyes seemed to have a trace of blood. This was caused by excessive excitement. Wang Feng also looked at the 2 battle teams below, and they lined up like a long snake. Following which, Wang Feng saw Tang San's team take out the prepared Zhuge divine crossbows from their soul tools and shoot towards the demon god battle team. It ended very quickly. The members of the demon god battle team were all assault-type soul masters. The Zhuge divine crossbows were equally powerful to them. Even if they were prepared, they might not be able to block the 16 consecutive shots of the Zhuge divine crossbows. They just needed to control the accuracy. The process was not thrilling, and the 7 members of the demon god battle team were immediately pierced by the Zhuge divine crossbows. After all, their physical qualities were not as good as Wang Feng's. Dong, dong, dong. The 7 of them fell to the ground one by one, and their blood dyed the ground red. When Shrek's 7 monsters saw this scene, except for Tang San, who was slightly better, the rest almost vomited on the spot. On the spectator stand, Wang Feng shrugged his shoulders. It's my turn now. I can try out the mysterious underworld spikes, large-scale, accurate attack. I wonder if the God Battle team can withstand it. There will be more at night. End of chapter. Chapter 185. In the Great Soul Fighting Arena. It was still the main soul fighting arena. After Shrek and the others returned to the audience area, their faces were very pale, and there were water stains at the corners of their mouths. Their masks had been taken off, and it was obvious that they had just vomited. Teacher, is this why you asked us to challenge the Demon God Battle Team? Tang San's face was also a little pale. Although he had killed people in his previous life, this was the first time he had really killed people in this life. Moreover, he had killed 5 people at once, and each of them had died in an extremely miserable state. Their bodies were penetrated by the crossbow arrows, and the blood that directly spurted out was like a fountain. Tang San was still all right. The rest, especially the girls, especially Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing, had no strength to vomit at all. Ning Rongrong was a rich young lady. In the sect, let alone killing people, even getting injured was probably rare. How could she have seen such a scene? Zhu Zhuqing was not much better. Yes, the master said lightly. In the future, you will face dangers in addition to soul beasts. Soul masters are the most dangerous group. Once you are not careful, you won't even know how you died. Killing is naturally something you will face sooner or later. You can hunt soul beasts without fear because soul beasts are enemies in your heart, and you can kill them at will. But our biggest enemy is not soul beasts, but humans. The master seemed to have thought of something and shook his head. Hearing this, Tang San was inexplicably shocked. Yes, our biggest enemy is soul masters, isn't it? How was I hunted down in the past? Wasn't it because I was chased down by the Tang sect and fell off the cliff? Facing enemies, especially these vicious people, you'd better not have the slightest mercy. Kill them, just kill them. Vomit, you'll get used to it. Vomiting now is better than not being able to do it when you're in danger. The master handed each of them a cup of warm water and continued. Next, watch one more match, and then we will go back to the hotel to rest. The 7 of them took the warm water and drank it in one gulp. Watch one more match? What match? Ning Rongrong muttered. I want to go back to the hotel to rest now. Everyone was curious. A special team battle. Perhaps, after watching this, you won't have any burdens in your hearts anymore. Grandmaster pointed downwards. At this time, in the Great Soul arena below, the host had been switched over. The next battle will be the highlight of our great arena of souls today. These two teams could be said to be very special. The first team is the trump card team of Sylvis, the god-slaying team that is feared by everyone. They were all agility-type soul masters, and every one of them was a hunter of the soul dueling arena. As long as you are targeted by the 7 of them, no matter which team you are in, no one will be able to survive. As for the other battle team, they came from the faraway Soto City. It was jokingly called a one-man battle squad, because there was only one person in this team. It was the Royal Squadron, and this mysterious soul master was called Jio Ikai. Rumor has it that this name means that any battle team only has a 10% chance of winning against him. Boom boom. As the host's words fell, 2 dazzling light-gathering soul tools in midair hit the 2 sides that slowly walked up to the Great Soul Arena from the inner door below. For a moment, the arena was boiling again. The battle just now had already made them erupt in silence, and now it had reached a new height. Almost the entire arena was shouting and screaming excitedly. This battle, in terms of numbers, was too dramatic. They had never seen it before. The 7 members of the god-slaying team, both men and women, were all around 40 years old. Agility-type soul masters were good at outbursts. If it was 1 or 2 of them, it would be difficult for them to display their strength in the Great Soul Arena, and they would be restrained. But if there were 7 of them, it would be a nightmare for the enemy. God-slaying team? Isn't it the other more ferocious team that the supervisor mentioned just now? Dying Mubai calmed down and said in surprise, "The Royal Squadron, Soto City, I seem to have heard of it. I heard that it was a gimmick team specially created by the Great Soul Arena in Soto City. I didn't expect it to come to Sylvis too. I've heard of it too." Ma Hongjun chewed on a piece of candy in his mouth to ease the nausea. This team is very strange. They registered 7 people, but only one of them goes on stage. They only participated in more than 10 battles in Soto City. It's very little, but they won every battle. Moreover, this Joi Kai has never revealed his martial soul ring, and at most occasionally used his soul power. Ma Hongjun seemed to have a wide range of information. These were all rumors that he heard from those young ladies when he went to buy tickets. These are the most popular rumors in those brothels. I heard that his martial soul was an ordinary axe when he was registered, but he has never used it before. Ma Hongjun chuckled. This was told to me by the top prostitute of the brothel. She said that her cousin is the person in charge of the registration of the Great Soul Arena. However, according to the internal rumors, it should be a mysterious expert specially invited by the Great Soul Arena to suppress his soul power and form a team. It's a gimmick that is specially used to control the low odds of some teams. Tang San and the others were slightly enlightened. But since it's a gimmick of the Great Soul Arena in Soto City, why would it appear here? Oscar was puzzled. Everyone was puzzled. All right, watch carefully. The master pointed below. At this time, the door on the other side opened. A human figure slowly walked out from inside. Black clothes, white mask, walking alone under the spotlight, as if out of place in the Great Soul Arena. In the Great Soul Arena, Wang Feng walked up. On the opposite side, there were 7 rank 49 agility-type soul masters, 4 men and 3 women. The moment they saw Wang Feng, their martial souls and soul rings lit up directly. Why was the god-slaying team so terrifying? It was very simple. While they were bloodthirsty, they didn't underestimate their opponents and were extremely difficult to deal with. Moreover, the captain of the god-slaying team was the sworn brother of the demon god team just now. They created 2 different teams precisely because they wanted to face each other one day, or rather, they both wanted to die in each other's hands. The 2 who advocated bloodthirsty killing set this as their goal. They only wanted to die in the hands of their opponents. At this time, the demon god team had been completely annihilated. The god-slaying team could be said to be boiling with hostility at this moment. Their martial souls were all agility type, the Gale Rat. No one knew that they came from a very remote village. This village only inherited this Gale Rat martial soul. The 7 of them all came from the same village, and the captain was called Ba Shu. Go Hong, you're too careless. I've told you long ago, if you continue to fight like this, you'll suffer sooner or later. Ba Shu closed his eyes as if praying to the heavens. Now, you didn't die in my hands, but under the cold arrows of the dark. You're too aggrieved, but don't worry. I'll take care of your family for you. After all, this is our promise back then. As for now, kill him. Ba Shu ordered. 7 figures, each with 4 soul rings lit up, and attacked Wang Feng on the opposite side. End of this chapter. Chapter 186. What one-man team, what 9-1, it didn't matter. They would all be turned into ashes under the sharp blades of his god-slaying battle team. As they were good at speed, each of their routes were extremely strange. They seemed to be attacking Wang Feng from all directions. Cold and sharp blades appeared on each of their claws. The cold light illuminated the excited and crazy faces of the countless spectators. At this moment, even Master's breathing was slightly hurried. The 7 agility-type Soul Masters were not weaker than the 7 Assault-type Soul Masters. They might even be stronger. Their speed was too fast, and their formation was scattered. The hidden weapons could not pose much of a threat to them. If we were to face them, our chances of winning would be very low, right? Dai Mubai gasped. Fortunately, Master chose the Demon God battle team for us. If this god-slaying battle team, Tang San felt a chill in his heart. These 7 agility-type Soul Masters were not afraid of his Zhuge Divine crossbow. They could only rely on their strength to resist, but their chances of winning were also very low. The main thing was that the opponent would directly kill them. Even if there was only 1-7, the 2 support players would be finished if he cut into the back row. This 9-1, I'm afraid it's over, right? Ning Rongrong could not help but say. The other 6 frowned slightly, but at this moment, they suddenly saw an extremely frightening scene. That 9-1 suddenly spun on the spot. Immediately after, countless black rays shot out from his body. These black rays were like raindrops appearing around the 9-1. Hundreds of Xianming spikes, as Wang Feng spun 360 degrees on the spot, attacked the god-slaying battle team from all directions. The black rays exploded, and almost no one saw what happened clearly. In an instant, the 6 members who were moving at high speed were directly pierced by at least dozens of Xianming spikes from various parts of their bodies. They died on the spot. Furthermore, each of them was still in the same posture as before their death. The only remaining captain, Ba Shu, had just rushed in front of Wang Feng. Those black rays seemed to have a mind of their own and directly gathered in Wang Feng's hand. They formed an extremely small black sword. Swoosh! A light flashed. Ba Shu suddenly froze in midair. Wang Feng held the black sword and directly walked off the stage without turning his head back. Until the moment he left the stage. Dozens of bloody lines suddenly appeared on Ba Shu's body. It was as if he had been cut by something. Blood spurted out crazily, and then it fell to the ground, twitching endlessly, slowly being corroded. In an instant, the whole place was dead silent. Countless gazes stared fixedly at the white-clothed figure walking down the stage. It was an extremely short and simple battle. Everyone's mouth was slightly agape, and everyone's face was filled with shock. The new host was so scared that he peed his pants again. He forced himself to say in a trembling voice, "Royal, battle team, victory." The entire Great Soul Arena suddenly exploded into an uproar. This battle was even faster than the previous one. Spectators stand. The master's pupils constricted, and the other teachers also stared blankly at this scene. What a terrifying killing method. What exactly is that black light? Flender stared at Jiu Ikai's back. Those black lights don't look like martial spirits, but more like Shao San's hidden weapons. Furthermore, it could even gather and disperse. Not only is its penetrating power terrifying, but its combined power is even more terrifying? As an agility system soul master, he had seen everything clearly at the last moment. It was a black sword blade the size of a middle finger. In an instant, it had slashed across Ba Shu's body, leaving at least dozens of wounds. But in an instant, when the sword blade fell on Ba Shu's body, the sword blade underwent a slight adjustment, turning into dozens of blade-sized short blades that slashed across Ba Shu's body. It was just that the speed of the change was too fast and difficult to detect. Therefore, the effect was extremely dazzling and gorgeous. It gave people the illusion that there were dozens of swords under one sword. Hearing Flinder's words, everyone looked at Tang San in unison. Tang San was also shocked to the point of breaking out in a cold sweat. I don't know either. Tang San was silent for a long time. He really didn't know that there was such a hidden weapon. There were so many of them, and they could still be controlled, and they could even change forms. Tang San had really never seen such a hidden weapon before. It was nothing to have a large number, and he could understand that it was fast. But to be able to take it back and change forms after killing people, this was a bit F***ing ridiculous. Moreover, most of the hidden weapons were one-time consumables. The black lights released by Jiyikai just now were not consumed at all, and they all gathered in his hands in the end. Tang San felt that it was somewhat similar to Brother Feng's mysterious black lights and dark thorns, but there were hundreds of times more of them, and they could even gather into one, which was even more powerful and terrifying. Back in Soto City, Tang San had seen Wang Feng fight when he took revenge for Ma Hongjun and beat up Tianya and Old Goose, the two Soul Kings, over rank 50. However, he only used a few Xianming thorns at that time, and didn't take Old Goose's life. This time it was different. Wang Feng directly controlled nearly 300 Xianming thorns. Against 6 people, he killed them in one hit, and the effect of instant killing in a fixed spot was terrifying. As for the last remaining one, through the combination of the Xianming thorns that he had trained for the past 2 months, he gathered them into a thin blade, and when he hit the enemy, he made micro-adjustments and turned them into dozens of short blades in a group, instantly causing dozens of fatal injuries on the enemy's body. He achieved the effect of instant killing with one sword. He was both pretentious and cool. Wang Feng had trained for a long time. Could it be that there are people in this world who are proficient in hidden weapons? Tang San's heart skipped a beat. For a moment, he was very curious about this 9-to-1 shot. After watching the team battle, everyone felt much better. Sure enough, he felt much better. That kind of shock directly suppressed the nausea. The opponent's methods are so fierce. That last move was too dazzling. Ma Hongjun was scared and excited at the same time. It doesn't feel like little threes hidden weapons, but they are stronger and can be gathered in his hand. Especially that movement of withdrawing the blade and turning around. It's so clean and neat, so cool. I feel like I can't learn it in my life. At this time, the master turned around and looked at them, coughing a few times. In the future, you have to be like this, decisive when you attack, and neat when you withdraw. Remember, you have to be like this when facing your enemies. Not to mention these vicious soul masters. Who knows how many lives have been taken by their hands? Hearing the master's words, everyone felt a little better. Hey, master, where's Wang Feng? Ning Rongrong suddenly asked at this time. He went back to the hotel first, saying that your competition was boring. Everyone. The next morning, the nausea in everyone's hearts lessened by quite a bit. After preparing food and water, everyone set off for Heavendoe, Imperial City. A few days later, the group was finally close to Heavendoe, Imperial City. However, it seems like no one has been to Heavendoe Imperial Academy. Fortunately, Ning Rongrong has been there before. I know where Heavendoe Imperial Academy is. I used to come here with my clansmen to play. Ning Rongrong pointed at the location on the map. They're outside the city. Is that so? Flinder was surprised. Then he said proudly, I didn't expect the founder of Heavendoe Imperial Academy to have the same idea as me. Principal, it's not like that. Ning Rongrong laughed secretly. Heavendoe Imperial Academy was built outside the city because there wasn't enough space in the city. Plus, to prevent the academy from running into the city and slacking off, it was built outside the city. Flender. End of chapter. Chapter 187. Flender, it doesn't feel good to be mocked by a student, does it? Zhao Wuji laughed from aside. The two of them started to bicker, causing everyone else to laugh. All right, let's hurry. The Grandmaster glared at the two of them. Even if you don't use your brain, it's obvious that Heaven-Do Imperial Academy is built outside the city. How could they have the same idea as you? You're poor, but do you think Heaven-Do Imperial Academy is poor? The Grandmaster's words angered Flender. He wanted to say something, but the Grandmaster interrupted him. It's getting late. It's better if we get to the academy as soon as possible so that we can start cultivating. The child has been rushing for days and is tired. Flender could only shake his head. The group walked out of the city. Not long after, they arrived at Heaven-Do Imperial Academy. Wang Feng saw the majestic academy. It was surrounded by a 1,000-meter-tall mountain. Behind it was a forest, and below the mountain was a huge lake. Even though they hadn't reached the inner area, they could feel the abundant energy. This is a good place, Wang Feng praised. This place wasn't inferior to the Great Stardow Forest. Although the Great Stardow Forest was a good place, it was also dangerous. At this time, the sun was setting. The forest in the distance seemed to be covered in a layer of faint light, as if it was one with the sparkling water of the lake. Coupled with the majestic mountain that was thousands of meters high, it reminded Wang Feng of the mountain resorts in his previous life, as well as the villas built in the mountains. It's been a long time since I've been here. This place is still so beautiful. Ning Rongrong looked at the scenery in the distance and sighed. It's a good place, but our Shrek Academy isn't bad either. It's simple, and gives the children the most effective training. Flender coughed a few times. Forget it. The Grandmaster glared at him. This Heaven-Do Imperial Academy is so big. It's surrounded by mountains and rivers. To a large extent, it's to provide a suitable cultivation environment for soul masters. Shrek is just a small village. I don't know how you've nurtured so many monsters over the years. Flender was speechless for a moment. He couldn't refute. Grandmaster, you can't say that. At this moment, Wang Feng said with a smile, there's a saying that a treasured sword needs to be tempered with great difficulty before it can shine. Oftentimes, the more difficult the environment is, the more brilliant it will be if one can walk out of it. Therefore, although the Shrek Academy is very shabby, none of the monsters that have walked out over the years are weak. The growth of a true genius may be limited by the environment, but they will never be drowned by the light. Wang Feng's words could only be considered as common logic in his previous life. In fact, that was the case. In a certain era, when the country was in danger, it was a time of crisis. Who knew how many heroes walked out of the difficult environment and held up the sky? The master was slightly stunned. He felt that Wang Feng's words made sense from a strange angle. I believe that even after 100 years, 1,000 years, or even 10,000 years, our Shrek Academy will no longer exist. Wang Feng said with a smile, but there will definitely be other Shrek Academy appearing on the continent. In fact, even after tens of thousands of years, the Shrek Academy was still there. Everyone fell silent. Everyone was slightly moved by Wang Feng's words, especially Tang San. A treasured sword often needs to be sharpened arduously before it can shine. Flender murmured, the growth of a true genius may be limited by the environment, but they will never be drowned by the light. I can't believe that a 13-year-old child said this to me. The master also glanced at Wang Feng with a strange look in his eyes. Well said. Flender came back to his senses and slapped his thigh excitedly. Master, did you see that? This is the original intention of my Shrek Academy. This is why I built the academy in that kind of environment. I want them to be able to walk out of that kind of environment. Forget it. Although Little Fang's words make sense, you're embarrassed because you don't have enough money, the master said with endless criticism. Flender was speechless. Big Brother Feng has a way with words. Xiao Wu covered her smile and said, it's a pity that he didn't become a teacher. Tang San also nodded repeatedly. Am I the only one who thinks that when he spoke just now, he was very charming? Ning Rongrong whispered to Xiao Wu, blushing slightly. It's not just you. I think so too, Tang San said with a smile. They all think so too. Dai Mubai and the others nodded slightly. This actually has something to do with Big Brother Feng's background. Tang San sighed softly. Big Brother Feng is even more pitiful than me. At least I had my father to raise me. Big Brother Feng's parents died when he was born. He was raised by Grandpa Jack and grew up eating the meals of the villagers. Is it that pitiful? Ning Rongrong was shocked. Pitiful my ass. Wang Feng was speechless. Although he didn't experience the love of a mother and father in this life, he grew up normally in his previous life, and his parents were still alive. At this moment, the group was walking. Suddenly, 10 soul masters wearing the Heaven Do Academy's uniform blocked their path. The leader of the group, a young man, spoke. Stop. Who are you people? Seeing these youths, Flinder and the others recognized their origins and directly said with a smile, You're right. They smiled and said, We're from the Shrek Academy in Soto City in the south. We were invited to the Heaven Do Academy for an exchange. Young man, lead the way. When the leading young man heard this, he couldn't help but size them up a few times. He sneered. Since when did our Heaven Do Academy invite a bunch of beggars for an exchange? Do you think our Heaven Do Academy is a place where anyone can enter? Get lost. His words were very rude. At this moment, the group was indeed travel-worn, but they couldn't be considered beggars. When they heard this, not to mention Flinder and the others, even Tang San and the others were angry. At this moment, Wang Feng walked out and looked at them with a smile. Wait, what did you say? I didn't hear you clearly. Can you repeat it? I said, you're a bunch of beggars. The leader frowned. No, before that. The leader thought for a moment and sneered. I said, who are you people? As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Feng sent him flying with a kick. I'm your grandfather. Everyone was speechless. What are you waiting for? Attack. Wang Feng turned to Tang San and said, What, Shrek's 7 monsters? Are you afraid of causing trouble? The few of them immediately reacted and walked towards the 10 young men with fierce looks on their faces. When Dai Mubai and Tang San joined the fight, they didn't even use soul power to beat the 10 young men until their faces were swollen and bruised. However, they didn't use too much strength, and the 10 young men didn't suffer any injuries. They're too weak. This Heaven Do Imperial Academy is probably a school that got in because of connections. Wang Feng shook his head. Most of them are trash. They're not worth mentioning. You dare to cause trouble in the Heaven Do Academy? This is a provocation to the Empire. And you dare to call yourself my grandfather? Do you know who I am? You're courting death. The leader of the group had a footprint on his abdomen. His eyes were alternating between green and red as he spoke to Wang Feng. In a chapter. Chapter 188. Wait, did I say that? Wang Feng was surprised. How come I don't remember? The leader was stunned and immediately shouted angrily. Did you just say that? You're my grandfather. I don't believe you. Say it again. Wang Feng quickly asked. You're my grandfather. Look, you said it yourself. It has nothing to do with me. Wang Feng sighed. Why do you want to be someone's grandson for no reason? Have you considered your father's feelings? You unfilial son, if you dare to say it out loud, I think your father won't let you off. The youth's face turned red, and he couldn't say a word. Everyone's face turned red. Wang Feng quickly asked. The youth subconsciously said it out loud, and only realized that he was being stupid after saying it. At this moment, an old and powerful voice sounded. Who's making a ruckus in the Heaven Do Academy? Hearing this voice, the leading young man immediately got up and walked into the distance. On a small path in the forest, a hale and hearty old man wearing a silver uniform was rushing over. Teacher's son, here, there are a few people who want to barge into the academy. I chased them away, and they even beat us up. You have to uphold justice for us. The youth hurriedly crawled over to the old man. The old man called Teacher's son frowned and scolded. Avalanche, look at your current state. This is improper. Stand to the side. As he spoke, Teacher's son walked towards Flinder and the others. As a teacher, This old man was clearly much more mature than the youth. I'm Sun Bu, a teacher from the Heaven-Do Empire. May I know who you are? Flender said indifferently and briefly explained what had happened and who he was. After he finished, Sun Buyu's expression changed, and he said respectfully, "So, it's Dean Flender from the Shrek Academy. Teacher Qin Ming already told us a few days ago that Teacher Qin is from the Shrek Academy. What happened just now was Avalanche's fault. I represent the Heaven-Do Academy to apologize to everyone. Please follow me." Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Feng shook his head inwardly. The internal relationships of the Heaven-Do Imperial Academy were quite complicated. The royal family was behind the scenes, but the teachers in the academy were not completely on the side of the royal family. Even though the teaching staff was strong, most of them were rotten fish and shrimps. There were very few like Yu Tianheng. It would be difficult for them to nurture some powerful soul masters. Even the cleverest housewife can't cook without rice. This was probably what it meant. The group followed Sun Buyu up the steps leading to the Heaven-Do Imperial Academy. The young man looked at their backs with a vicious look in his eyes. Shrek Academy. You want to stay in the Heaven-Do Academy after beating me? Avalanche? If I don't chase you out like stray dogs, I won't have an avalanche. Your Highness, stray dogs refers to dogs that have no home to return to. The Heaven-Do Academy isn't their home. That's not the right word to use. F***ck off. From a small path in the forest, Wang Feng and the others slowly walked up the stairs. They could feel the energy in the air becoming more and more abundant. Moreover, as the horizon slowly rose, one could overlook the lake below, as well as the forest in the distance. It was really relaxing and relaxing. Is this a simulated cultivation environment? Wang Feng thought to himself. He often cultivated in the Star-Do forest, but it was too dangerous and unsuitable for meditation. If he meditated or cultivated in this place, his cultivation speed would be much faster. His chaotic green lotus was also a type of plant. It could absorb the energy in this place much faster. A simulated cultivation environment meant that different types of soul masters were placed in the same environment. This way, their cultivation speed would be greatly increased. The Heaven-Do Imperial Academy had such a large area. Naturally, they had built at least 100 simulated cultivation environments to provide soul masters with the most perfect cultivation environment. It's really a treasure trove, Wang Feng thought to himself. Along the way, Flender had a simple conversation with Sun Buyu. He had a rough understanding of the Heaven-Do Academy. It's a pity that we can't stay for long. Wang Feng shook his head. He didn't know much about the story of the Douluo continent. He only knew that Tang San had walked out of the Heaven-Do Academy. Instead, he had joined another academy. Not long after, Sun Buyu brought everyone to the academy's guest room. There weren't many students in the main campus. Most of them were cultivating in the simulated cultivation environment. After Sun Buyu left, Qin Ming quickly arrived. After a few pleasantries, Qin Ming smiled. I've already discussed with the academy's higher-ups. They've all agreed to your conditions. The higher-ups think highly of you. Tomorrow, I'll arrange for you to meet them and treat you to a banquet. You must be tired after traveling for a few days. I've already arranged a guest room for you. Please follow me. Qin Ming was someone who could walk out of the Shrek Academy. He was very methodical and reliable. It's a pity that Qin Ming didn't appear in the original novel. Wang Feng shook his head. He had a good impression of Qin Ming. However, he didn't know what happened to Qin Ming. He was the former monster of the Shrek Academy who possessed a mutated beast martial soul. Logically speaking, he had the potential to become a titled Dalu. Qin Ming first brought everyone to eat a banquet prepared by the academy. Then, he personally brought everyone to the rooms that had been arranged. The rooms that were arranged were also excellent. They weren't inferior to those hotels. This Heaven-Do Imperial Academy gave Wang Feng the feeling that it was built on the mountainside. It was like a group of villas. They were arranged in picturesque disorder and were unusually orderly and luxurious. After traveling for a few days, everyone rested comfortably in this environment. The next day, early in the morning, Qin Ming came to find Tang San and the others. Cultivating so early? Qi Ming looked at Tang San and smiled. It's a pity. If only the students of our academy were as diligent as you. Tang San was sitting on the roof. He had just finished cultivating the mysterious heaven technique and purple demon eyes. When he heard Qi Ming's words, he smiled embarrassedly. Senior, you're overpraising me. Qi Ming shook his head. Among the Shrek's 7 monsters, you left the deepest impression on me. If it weren't for your command in that battle, the 7 of you would have been defeated long ago. This has an inseparable relationship with your diligence. Tang San stood up and said embarrassedly, Actually, the most diligent person in the academy isn't me. It's Brother Feng. Brother Feng, you're the monster captain, Wang Feng, right? Qi Ming laughed. He's indeed different. Very different. Yes, Brother Feng is cultivating even when he's sleeping. Tang San said in admiration. Qi Ming. Chapter 189. What did you say? You can cultivate while sleeping? Qi Ming stared at Tang San in disbelief. Big Brother Feng taught us this method, but we can't learn it yet. We can only train and cultivate at the same time. Tang San explained. Qi Ming swallowed hard. He suddenly understood why the 7 of them were so abnormal. That battle, Tang San laughed bitterly. Actually, Big Brother Feng often sparred with us alone for the past 3 months. If it weren't for those 3 months of training, we would have been defeated immediately. After all, the Imperial battle team is too cautious. Sparring with you all alone? 3 months? Qi Ming was shocked. He hadn't heard of such a situation when he was reminiscing with Flinder and the others. In a daze, Qi Ming recalled Flinder's words when he first introduced Wang Feng. Either he wanted to come out, or he was beaten out. At that time, Qi Ming didn't understand. Now he understood. He alone can beat the 7 of you. Wait, it seems possible. Just as Qi Ming asked, he was shocked. He seemed to be able to beat me back then. At that time, I used all my strength except for my 2 soul skills and rank 20 soul power. I couldn't even beat him with my core soul skill. For 3 months, we didn't win even once. Tang San said with a face full of shame. Our best result was that the 7 of us lasted 10 minutes against Big Brother Feng. We really didn't have any soul power left. Qi Ming was speechless. That monster Captain Wang Feng, is he really only rank 34? Qi Ming could not help but question himself in his heart. A 13-year-old child has already caught up to me, a 30-year-old. Qi Ming really didn't know how strong Wang Feng would be when he reached 30. After a moment of shock, Qi Ming asked Tang San to wake everyone up. After breakfast, he introduced them to Heaven Do Academy's interior. Along the way, Qi Ming's gaze fell on Wang Feng from time to time. Wang Feng thought Qi Ming was, what's going on? Why is teacher Qi Ming looking at me? Wang Feng thought to himself, I'm a serious guy who likes older girls. Wang Feng walked to the side, avoiding Qi Ming's gaze as he listened to Qi Ming's introduction. The Heaven Do Academy's grading system was very strict. The students were divided into Heaven Micro, Heaven Supreme, and Heaven Do. It was the same for the teachers, but there were 3 more teachers from the education committee, all of whom were soul Douluos. However, Wang Feng could understand. In his previous life, there were ordinary classes, rocket classes, and experimental classes. The teachers were also divided into ordinary teachers, special teachers, professors, and so on. With the strength of Flinder and the others, it wasn't a problem for them to reach the Heaven Do level. Moreover, the bonus was quite high. 3,000 gold coins. This was simply too rich. Soon, Qi Ming led the group to a building in the middle of the school. This building was majestic and magnificent. It was not inferior to the martial spirit halls in the big cities. When Qi Ming led the group in, Wang Feng saw 3 old men standing at the very front. The old man was wearing a long black robe. Only Soul Douluos had such robes, and they had to be collected from the spirit hall. They were also dressed very formally. The pressure was involuntarily released from the 3 of them. Soul Douluo. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. Above rank 80, Soul Douluo were still very strong. At least, Wang Feng couldn't defeat them now. Even if he used Panga's axe, he didn't have a chance. Fifth gear would also be beaten up. Regardless of everything else, just in terms of rank, a soul Dalu was at least equivalent to an ordinary soul beast of more than 60,000 years. 30,000 years was equivalent to a rank 71 soul sage, and 10,000 years was equivalent to a rank 61 soul emperor. Back then, Wang Feng couldn't kill the powerful thorny Xuanwu turtle with Panga's axe. He should be able to do it now. Naturally, Wang Feng could barely fight a rank 70 soul sage with Panga's axe, but it would also be a loss to him. As for those below rank 71, he could basically kill them instantly with Panga's axe. If it was around rank 61, Wang Feng could kill it instantly with 5th gear, not defeat it. However, 5th gear had many trump cards, and it was unlikely that Wang Feng would use them. Back then, Qin Ming still had a part of his strength that he hadn't used. Wang Feng's 2nd gear was stronger than him, so he could suppress him and send him flying with one punch, causing him to fall off the soul dueling stage and fail. In fact, he wasn't seriously injured, but if he was serious, Qin Ming wouldn't have been defeated so easily. As for those below rank 61, sorry, 3rd gear or 4th gear would sweep them. As for those below rank 51, he would use the mysterious underworld spike to kill them instantly. Just like the God-slaying battle team, if they were defense-type soul masters, they could still resist. Unfortunately, those 7 people were all agility-type soul masters and were as fragile as paper in front of them. Hence, Wang Feng was still a little careful when he saw the soul Dalu now. After all, he couldn't defeat them. At this moment, seeing how formal the 3 elders were, Wang Feng didn't dare to offend them. Flender and the others naturally did not dare to be negligent. They directly walked over, placed their hands on their shoulders, and respectfully said, "I'm the Dean of the Shrek Academy, Flender. I'm an agility type, rank 78, 7-ringed soul emperor. Greetings, seniors." Behind him, Zhao Wuji and the other teachers also stepped forward and reported their names. These 3 elders were older and stronger than them, so it was natural for them to do so. Seeing this, the 3 elders smiled. One of them, who was slightly skinny and had a sage-like demeanor, helped Flender up and said, "You're too polite. I've heard a lot about the Shrek Academy, since you're able to produce a disciple like Qin Ming. I'm Dream God Ji. My martial soul is the Black Demon. I'm a control type, rank 86, battle soul Douluo. As for these 2, let me introduce them to you." This elder, who called himself Dream God Ji, pointed at the other 2 and introduced them. One of them was slightly chubby. He was called by Baoshan. His martial soul was the Starry Furnace. He was a defense type, rank 85, 8-ring battle soul Dalu. The other one was called Jilin. His martial soul was the Heavenly Ivy. He was a rank 83, 8-ring tool soul Dalu. Jilin looked ordinary, and his figure was ordinary. Compared to the other 2, there wasn't much special about him. The 3 of them invited everyone into an office. This office was the kind of living room that Wang Feng had imagined. It was simple and plain, and there wasn't much extravagance. From this, it was clear that these 3 soul Daluo were hard-working people. They took their seats. Dream God Ji smiled and said, "Let's cut to the chase. To be honest, we didn't think that our Imperial battle team would lose to you. As expected of the Monster Academy, we'll agree to whatever request you asked Qin Ming to convey. All 7 of them will be under your tutelage. In the future, all glory will belong to the Heaven Do Academy. You can use all the facilities in the academy. When the time comes, if you want to leave, we won't stop you. Other than that, if you have any other requests, we'll agree to them as long as it's within the scope of our authority." The 3 of them were courteous to the wise. "If that's the case, thank you, senior." Flender sighed inwardly, but maintained a smile on his face. "By the way, I heard from Qin Ming that among the Shrek 7 monsters, there's a genius control-type soul master and a powerful auxiliary-type soul master. May I know who they are?" The Dream God Ji glanced at the people behind Flender. "I don't dare to call myself a genius soul master. Tang San and Lin Feng?" Master Dream God Ji asked. Wang Feng didn't step out. In his mind, this was the opportunity for little 3. He wanted to take a look first. He would step out later. It's going to be a new week soon. I'll ask for a ticket. End of chapter. Chapter 190. Tang Xin glanced at Wang Feng before he stood up and walked out. Greetings, teachers. The 3 soul Douluo smiled, but didn't say anything. Suddenly, Lin's soul Douluo looked at Tang San. Pressure surged towards Tang San like a tidal wave. The air around Tang San started to distort. The others couldn't sense it, but Tang San could feel pressure coming from all directions. It felt as if everyone around him was using shields to crush him. It was very uncomfortable. Fortunately, this pressure didn't have any killing intent. He just wanted to pressure Tang San and test his strength. Tang San also understood that Lin's soul Douluo was testing him. Fortunately, Lin's soul Douluo was also a control-type soul master and was the weakest among the 3. Without thinking, Tang San immediately used the mysterious heaven method to resist. When the rest of the Shrek Academy saw this scene, especially the teachers, they naturally understood what Lin's soul Douluo was trying to do. TSK, no matter what, these 3 soul Douluo from the Heaven Do Academy are not bad. Wang Feng could also feel it. He was very sensitive to the energy fluctuations around him. Although he wasn't beside Tang San, he could still feel the pressure that Lin was exerting on Tang San. It was getting stronger step by step. This was obviously a different kind of test. If the pressure was exerted right from the start, only the teachers present would be able to withstand it. However, Dai Mubai, Xiao Wu, and the others can withstand this pressure. It's not enough for little San to break through. Let's work harder. Wang Feng watched silently. Tang San, who possessed an external soul bone, naturally didn't lose out to Huiyu Hao in terms of physical fitness. Aside from the external soul bone's special effects, it could also enhance a soul master's physical attributes in all aspects. Even if they didn't use it, once they absorbed the external soul bone, it would subtly change a soul master's physique. Otherwise, soul masters wouldn't be so desperate for it. Ordinary soul masters who obtained an external soul bone were equivalent to obtaining a golden finger. Slowly, the soul power that Lin's soul released became stronger. A soul naturally had exquisite control over their soul power. Under such pressure, Tang San's expression remained unchanged, and a faint white mist appeared on his body because of the mysterious heaven skill. Not bad. The other 2 soul Douluo were a little astonished because the soul power pressure that Lin was releasing right now had already exceeded the level that a rank 33 soul master could withstand. As for Tang San, they could tell that he was a rank 33 soul master when he first circulated his soul power to resist the attack. But now, this genius control-type soul master hadn't even used his martial soul. Lin's eyes flashed. His soul power increased again, reaching the limit of rank 35. Soul power pressure was different from one's own soul power. Generally speaking, it would be considered good if one could withstand 2/3 of one's soul power. Furthermore, he would need to release his martial soul, and it had to be a beast martial soul. This was because a beast martial soul greatly increased the attributes of a soul master's body. But now, the pressure of a rank 35 soul power had already surpassed this child's level. He still didn't release his martial soul to resist. Flender and the others were a little worried, especially Xiao Wu. She could already see a slight change in Tang San's expression. As someone who understood Tang San the most, she naturally knew that Tang San was already feeling the pressure. Only the Grandmaster and Wang Feng were leisurely drinking tea. The Grandmaster knew Tang San like the back of his hand, and Wang Feng knew the Grandmaster like the back of his hand, let alone Tang San. Lin's soul power pressure slowly increased from rank 35 all the way to rank 40. Finally, Tang San couldn't take it anymore. Blue-silver grass silently bloomed on Tang San's palm. A blue-silver light covered the grass, and it slowly fluttered in the wind under Lin's soul power pressure. After seeing his opponent release his soul power, Lin roughly knew that he had reached the limit of what his opponent could withstand. Just as he was about to retract his soul power pressure, he exclaimed in surprise. The blue-silver grass was slightly stretching and swaying around Tang San's body, as if it was weakening the soul power pressure. Borrowing strength to fight strength, for tails to lift 1,000 pounds. Wang Feng took a sip of tea. Others might not be able to see the clues, but he naturally understood. Tang San had obviously borrowed a technique from his previous life. Combining it with the disorder-splitting wind hammer technique, he used the weak blue-silver grass to remove Lin's soul power pressure. As expected of Little 3, Wang Feng thought to himself, although he couldn't use soul skills like his Reverse the Universe, he could use the toughness of his blue-silver grass to carry out this kind of 4 tails to lift 1,000 pounds. It had to be said that he was quick-witted. At this moment, Lin saw this scene. With a thought, his soul power pressure increased again, all the way to rank 45. 4 tails to lift 1,000 pounds was no longer effective. TSK, even Dai Mubai can't withstand this limit, right? Wang Feng thought to himself. Although Little 3 didn't use cheats, he had cheats everywhere. At the same time, Tang San, who was operating the mysterious heaven method at an extremely fast speed, felt the pressure tearing his body apart. Immediately after, he released his soul bones. 8 huge spider spears rose from Tang San's back. Soul bones! The 3-soul Douluo cried out. Lin's soul quickly retracted his soul power pressure. Of course, they would recognize this thing. True white fog emerged from Tang San's body. The 8 spider spears also moved rhythmically, as if they were under perfect control. Thank you, Lin's soul, for your help. The master stood up and laughed. Ever since Tang San obtained this external soul bone, he has been unable to control it at will. Now, under the pressure of Lin's soul, he has finally become one with this external soul bone. He has reached the point where he can control it like his own arm. Hearing this, Lin's soul was stunned at first. Then, he and the other 2 were shocked. External soul bone? They naturally knew the preciousness of this kind of treasure. After a moment of silence, the 3 of them looked at the master with a special meaning in their eyes. They were somewhat impressed. They were impressed because Shrek Academy didn't hide anything from them. They even told them about the external soul bone. This was a form of trust and respect. If it were them, they might not be able to do it. However, the master naturally understood that these 3 soul doll were respected in the world of soul masters. They were kind and mellow seniors. That was why they did this. Outsiders didn't know that Tang San's current state of body was far better than perfect control of the 8 spider spears. His soul power has increased by 1 level. It seems that in the original work, Little 3 opened a meridian here. Wang Feng looked at Tang San. He could feel the soul power fluctuation. Meridians usually appeared in wuxia novels. Wang Feng only knew the general name of the 8 extraordinary meridians. Wang Feng really didn't know which one specifically. However, the opening of the meridians obviously improved Tang San greatly. It could be said that it directly made him a rank 34 control-type soul master, but his physical fitness had exceeded rank 40. In a chapter. Chapter 191. Unfortunately, I'm not a martial arts expert. I don't know the mysterious heaven method, and I don't know where these meridians are. Wang Fengxin felt a little regretful. If he could open these meridians, he would have become stronger. Generally, the younger the meridians were opened, the more benefits one would gain. Although it was a little regretful, Wang Feng wasn't too disappointed. Everyone had their own path, and it didn't necessarily mean that the path others took was the best. The path that was suitable for oneself was the best. Wang Feng felt that his current path was quite suitable for himself. If there were too many paths, he wouldn't be able to sort them out. Biting off more than one could chew was the truth. Moreover, with the meteoric tear, Wang Feng might not even know if his body was reforged again and all the 8 extraordinary meridians were opened. After all, Wang Feng really didn't know where the 8 extraordinary meridians were located. Who would have the time to study those things? He didn't study medicine in his previous life, so those who studied medicine might know. After Tang San retrieved the external soul bone, he walked back, feeling refreshed. Brother Feng. Tang San smiled and glanced at Wang Feng. I've finished the test. Now it's Brother Feng's turn. How far can Brother Feng go? At this moment, not only was Tang San curious, everyone else was curious. Even the three-souled Douluo were curious. According to what Qin Ming had said, Tang San was a genius soul master who was good at controlling things. Now, he had proven that he was a genius. The next one was a powerful support-type soul master who was praised by Qin Ming, the monster captain of Shrek's 7 monsters. How powerful would he be? Little Feng. The master glanced at Wang Feng. Let them see. Flinder chuckled in a low voice. As the dean of Shrek Academy, the more powerful the students were, the more face he would have. Good luck. Ning Rongrong secretly pulled Wang Feng's sleeve and whispered. Yes. Zhu Zhuqing pursed her lips slightly and gave Wang Feng a look of encouragement. Captain, let the 3 seniors see the power of our Shrek Academy. Ma Hongjun chuckled. Little 3 is already so strong, so the captain must be even stronger. I'm guessing that Ji Lin's soul will have to show some of his true abilities. Oscar also laughed. Let's make a conservative estimate. A rank 50 soul emperor's aura should be able to pressure our monster captain. Dai Mubai analyzed. After watching Tang San, the 5 of them could tell that the 3 Contra Douluos wanted to test the 2 representatives of the Shrek Academy. Cough, cough. Wang Feng stood up and walked out, looking at the 3 with a calm expression. Seniors, please. The word please carried a hint of sharpness. The 3-souled Douluos exchanged a glance. I'll do it, the Dream God Machine said slowly. He was a rank 86 soul warrior, the strongest of them all. Reaching their level, the difference between each level could be said to be like heaven and earth. Wang Feng smiled as he looked at the Dream God Machine. With the experience of observing Tang San earlier, the Dream God Machine did not exert pressure slowly. Instead, it immediately unleashed its rank 34 soul power. The atmosphere was heavy. Wang Feng crossed his arms and shook his head slightly. Everyone, this kid is a little too arrogant. Zhao Wuji could not help but laugh. Does he really not care about his seniors? Shaking his head, the rest of the people laughed as well. They knew Wang Feng's personality. He was not afraid of anything. At this moment, he was not afraid at all. He shook his head slightly, which seemed to have shocked the rank 86 soul Dalu. Good fellow. The Dream God Machine's eyes flashed with a hint of a smile, and its soul power increased rapidly. It was a control-type soul warrior, and its control of its soul power was naturally exquisite. Right now, its soul power was increasing rapidly, and it was not increasing slowly. It was hard for people to get used to such a rapid increase. In just a moment, its soul power had increased to rank 40, which was the limit that Tang San could withstand. Wang Feng's face did not turn red, and he did not look away. He shook his head slightly again. The Dream God Machine. The other 2 soul Douluos laughed. At the same time, they were extremely shocked. This monster captain, no wonder he could become the leader of the 7 of them. Indeed, there was something truly amazing about it. Interesting. Did you notice? Ji Lin whispered. He hasn't used his soul power yet. Just now, Tang San directly used his soul power when I used it. He's using his own body's strength to resist. Bai Baoshan nodded. He felt that this monster captain would give them a huge shock. Evidently, Wang Feng's slight shake of his head was far more stimulating than any words. The Dream God Machine's face turned red. Although it shook its head, it meant that the soul power was not strong enough for it to continue. However, it was still a soul Douluo, and it had its own pride. The Dream God Machine pointed its finger in the air. A huge amount of soul power surged towards Wang Feng like mercury. The rapid increase in soul power was only effective on Wang Feng, but as the soul power continued to fluctuate, everyone could feel it very clearly. A gust of wind blew from Wang Feng's body, and it blew towards the people behind him. He's already rank 50. Flinter was a little worried. Even a rank 50 soul Dalu might not be able to withstand this level of soul power. Even I can't withstand it now, Tang Sen muttered to himself. Brother Feng is still very strong. Everyone watched closely, afraid that an accident would happen. At this moment, Wang Feng still did not feel much soul power. He only felt that his body was a little heavy, and his consciousness was very clear. His body was too strong. At the very least, he needed to use his soul power to resist the soul power that was close to rank 60. Wang Feng was not sure if he could reach his limit at rank 60. After reaching rank 50, even the other two soul Dalu became nervous. They were afraid that something would happen to this child. Be careful, Shunji, Jilin whispered. Don't hurt the child. The plump-eyed Baoshan also whispered. The dream god machine knew what to do. He looked at Wang Feng and could clearly sense that Wang Feng was still not using his soul power. Is this child's body made of diamond? The dream god machine could not help but think to himself. He continued to increase the soul power pressure, but the speed was much slower. He was a little worried that Wang Feng would not be able to withstand it if he increased it too quickly. The soul power pressure was slowly increasing. Everyone's hearts were beating faster and faster. Even the grandmasters felt their mouths dry up. This was because their soul power had reached rank 59. At this moment, Wang Feng finally started to circulate his soul power. Faint green soul force circulated throughout his entire body. Under the pressure of his soul force, a layer of faint green mist appeared, making Wang Feng look like a celestial that was controlling the clouds. There was a kind of hazy beauty to him. It's so beautiful, Ning Rongrong whispered as she blushed. Rongrong, are you paying attention to the wrong place? Xiao Wu said with difficulty. The people behind them could not help but feel a wave of pressure coming from the shop. An invisible whirlpool formed around Wang Feng. With such a huge amount of soul power pressure, even if the dream god machine controlled it well, it would still dissipate when it landed on Wang Feng's body. This soul power pressure is indeed very pleasurable. Wang Feng felt as if he was being crushed by a mountain. He suddenly thought of Sun Wukong being crushed under the Five-Finger Mountain. Although Wang Feng did not know what it was, he felt that it was the same. End of this chapter. Chapter 192. Under this kind of pressure, Wang Feng felt that his soul force circulation and absorption had become much faster. The muscle fibers in his body were also repeatedly compressing and solidifying themselves. At this moment, the dream god machine heaved a sigh of relief when it sensed Wang Feng's soul power. Is he finally using his soul power? However, after level 60, the strength of each level would be far stronger than the previous level. As one soul power cultivation progressed, the difference between ranks would become bigger and bigger, following which the dream god machine began to increase its soul power pressure, slowly increasing it level by level. He felt that he was under the most pressure. The dream god machine couldn't imagine that it was exerting soul power pressure on a rank 34 soul master, all the way until rank 64. Wang Feng's expression changed slightly. He circulated his soul power in a frenzy to resist the pressure. However, the terrifying soul power pressure was like a tsunami that slammed into his body, stirring up the space around him. He felt as if he was being mercilessly slammed into by countless people every second. Mysterious underworld armor. Wang Feng secretly released the mysterious underworld armor and attached it to the surface of his body. No one noticed. What was interesting was that Wang Feng discovered that his control over the mysterious underworld spike had become even faster under the terrifying pressure of this soul force. He was delighted. He diverted his attention. As he circulated his soul power to resist the pressure, he controlled his soul power to control the mysterious underworld spike. 1 spike, 2 spikes, 50 spikes, 60 spikes. Damn, my control over the mysterious underworld spike has increased under such conditions. It's indeed obvious. No wonder little 3's 8 spider spears can be controlled so perfectly under such conditions. I can control at least 100 spikes in this trip. Wang Feng used 5 months to control the first 300 spikes. After that, he used an average of 100 spikes per month. As his control over his soul power became better, the number of spikes he could control increased rapidly. Now, under this soul power pressure, it was increasing exponentially. Furthermore, this control couldn't be detected. It was like the anal lifting exercise. It tightened the anus and trained the anal sphincter. If you were standing beside someone, you could unknowingly perform the anal lifting exercise dozens of times. No one would be able to detect it unless they used their X-ray vision and could see the movements of your muscles. The Dream God Machine and the other two Soul Douluo were the same. They couldn't see the mysterious underworld spike and the mysterious underworld armor unless they could see the circulation of Wang Feng's soul power. Just like that, Wang Feng rapidly increased his control over the number of mysterious underworld spikes. At this moment, Wang Feng's mind was completely focused on controlling his soul power and channeling it into the mysterious underworld spike. On the outside, everyone's faces were filled with shock. Lin Feng, this brat, could it be that he didn't use his martial spirit? It's almost at rank 67. Zhao Wuji broke out in a cold sweat. Level 67. Even if he was in Wang Feng's position, he would have to use his martial spirit. Even the Dream God Machine didn't dare to increase its soul power. That was because if he wanted to increase his strength any further, he would need to use martial soul possession in order to guarantee his precise control. Otherwise, if he wasn't careful, the pressure of his soul power could crush his opponent to death. Let's stop for now. A thin layer of sweat appeared on Ji Lin's forehead. It couldn't be helped. At this point, they really didn't know where the limits of this monster captain were. If he continued to suppress it, what if something went wrong? However, at this moment, Wang Feng opened his eyes in a daze. Why did you stop? Everyone. Wang Feng felt that the speed of his mysterious underworld spike had slowed down. Only then did he come to his senses. It seemed that his opponent's soul power had stopped. At this moment, the number of mysterious underworld spikes he could control had increased to more than 400. However, just as he came to his senses, Wang Feng felt an intense pain all over his body. It was as if he was suffocating. Damn, I was too focused on controlling the mysterious underworld spike just now. I didn't feel it. Wang Feng broke out in cold sweat. I'm almost at my limit. However, the more I reach my limit, the more I can activate the meteoric tier, even if it's just once. However, if the level of this pressure increases any further, I'm afraid I won't be able to withstand it. However, if there are 3 rank 67 soul power presences, it should be just right. There was no helping it. The increase in soul power pressure after each rank was too great. The difference between one rank was like heaven and earth. Simply put, if rank 69 was too high, his body would probably explode. The meteoric tier wouldn't be enough. Rank 68 wasn't enough to activate the meteoric tier. 3 rank 67 soul power presences were just right. Thinking of this, Wang Feng couldn't help but lower his voice. Is it possible for the other 2 seniors to come up as well and maintain this kind of soul power pressure? Can you lend me a hand? Everyone. Interesting. Bai Baoshan and Ji Lin were truly shocked by these words. Not everyone could withstand the pressure of soul power. Just the rank 67 soul power pressure from the Dream God Machine was even more terrifying than Zhao Wuji's 6th soul skill. This was the soul power pressure from a soul Douluo. 3 seniors? Even Zhao Wuji didn't dare to say this. The 3 seniors looked at each other. Seeing Wang Feng's determined eyes, they were slightly moved. Come a try, the Dream God Machine said in a low voice. Hearing this, Bai Baoshan and Ji Lin didn't hesitate anymore. 2 terrifying soul power presences landed around Wang Feng. Boom! A wave of energy surged from Wang Feng's body. Ning Rongrong and the others couldn't help but circulate their soul power to resist this overflowing pressure. Almost instantly, Wang Feng's entire body emitted countless crackling sounds of bones exploding. Under the terrifying pressure, Wang Feng's body reached its limit. The golden lotus slowly appeared in Wang Feng's palm. The meteoric tear in his body finally surged with a faint energy that flowed through his body. This energy wasn't much, and it wasn't enough to greatly increase his physical strength. However, it could increase his soul power rank. The energy in the meteoric tear was extremely pure. Wang Feng didn't know what this energy was, but it was definitely of a very high level. As the energy flowed through Wang Feng's limbs and bones, Wang Feng exclaimed in satisfaction. He couldn't help but say, "Awesome." As he finished speaking, suddenly, the entire guest room was dead silent. Damn, why do I feel that this is so familiar? Zhao Wuji was stunned for a moment. After that, he couldn't help but think. At the same time, the other three Soul Douluo were stunned. Awesome? You can feel awesome now? We are 3 Soul Douluo, and we have rank 67 soul power. His soul power has broken through. At this moment, the 3 of them looked at each other. They quickly retracted their soul power pressure and looked at Wang Feng. Under the effect of the golden lotus, the green fog turned into golden light. The golden light covered Wang Feng's body, and it was as if he had an additional layer of golden gauze. It was extremely dazzling. As his soul power flowed, the golden lotus in his palm exuded a faint and gentle aura. Everyone in the guest room felt a wave of warmth. He's close to rank 36. Wang Fengxin was a little excited. This time, he didn't activate much of the meteoric tear. This was because the soul power pressure didn't push his body to its limit. End of chapter. Chapter 193. Although his physique had only improved a little, his soul power had increased. Although his soul power was only close to rank 2, his rank 2 soul power was not inferior to a rank 50 Soul King's rank 2 soul power. Under normal circumstances, he might not even be able to increase his soul power by half a year. The meteoric tear is indeed the meteoric tear. It can improve my physique quickly in the early stages, and the energy that surges out in the later stages can even increase my soul power. Wang Fengxin could not help but exclaim in awe. Without the meteoric tear, it was almost impossible to compress one's soul power. My body has also improved, but it's much less than before. But it's enough. Wang Feng moved slightly, and a crisp sound came from his body. Seeing the curiosity in everyone's eyes, Wang Feng told them the excuse that he had thought of earlier. A few days ago, I consumed a magical herb in the Great Stardow Forest. After consuming it, my soul power increased by more than half. However, because I swallowed it without thinking, I did not completely absorb the medicinal power of the herb. Now that I'm under the pressure of the 3 senior soul power, the medicinal power in my body surged out and helped me break through 2 ranks. I'm about to reach rank 36. Thank you, seniors. He had no choice. Breaking through 2 ranks was a little exaggerated. No one would believe it if there was no ghost. That was why Wang Feng said that. He could not tell them about the meteoric tear. That was why he thought of this excuse when he stepped forward. Of course, other than the increase in his soul power, the number of mysterious underworld spikes he could control had increased to almost 500. It was a huge improvement. After hearing Wang Feng's explanation, the 3 Soul Douluo were slightly enlightened. No wonder he could break through 2 ranks at such a time. Little Feng often goes to the Great Stardow Forest to fight soul beasts. The Great Stardow Forest is filled with danger and opportunity. This must be his opportunity. Master also stepped forward with a smile. He believed this explanation, because he knew that Wang Feng often went to the Great Stardow Forest alone. Other than that, his physique must be very special, right? Jilin sighed. I've lived for so many years, but I've never seen a rank 34 soul master who can resist a rank 67 soul power. Even soul masters of the same rank can't do that. Genius, 1 in a million. The dream god machine sighed. Qi Ming also stepped forward and smiled. That's why, when I fought him as a soul elder, and even used my core soul skill, I felt that I couldn't match up to him just by relying on my physical strength. This is even more inconceivable than those people who are born with divine strength. What's interesting is that he's also an auxiliary-type soul master. His auxiliary abilities are the strongest. The three soul Dalu burst into laughter when they heard this. Good. In the future, let's broaden our horizons in the academy. And your other children. After the test, the three soul Dalu didn't ask any more questions. He thought that he would have plenty of time in the academy in the future. After all, the Shrek Academy had already given them many surprises, and they needed time to digest them. These two children, one more exaggerated than the other. Wang Feng also needed to digest it and stabilize his soul power rank. This time, Wang Feng's soul power pressure had greatly increased his strength. It was not inferior to half a year of bitter cultivation. However, it was a pity that Wang Feng couldn't truly rely on this soul power pressure to improve himself. Firstly, he couldn't find so many excuses, and it would be too easy to arouse suspicion. Secondly, his soul power had to be stabilized by his own cultivation. The energy that surged out from the meteoric tear had increased his soul power rank, but Wang Feng still needed time to stabilize it. So he went all the way to the great star Douluo forest. No wonder he's so strong. Humph, he didn't even tell us. Ning Rongrong stared at Wang Feng and spoke softly. However, there was a look of admiration in her eyes. Brother Feng is very strong. Tang San's eyes were burning. Brother Feng's abilities had always been a mystery. This was especially so after he returned from the great star Douluo forest. Now, he could understand a little. He could actually withstand the soul power pressure of a rank 67 soul master. He was more than 20 ranks higher than him. No wonder Brother Feng's physique was so abnormal. He could take on our entire team alone. So Brother Feng went to the great star Douluo forest. Xiao Wu muttered to herself, but she didn't open her mouth. However, she didn't say anything, afraid that the soul Dalu would turn their attention to her. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Wang Feng's back, and her eyes sparkled. Great star Douluo forest. He's so strong. But why do I feel like he's the same as us? Am I hallucinating? Ma Hongjun couldn't help but think. Oscar and Dai Mubai were also a little emotional. They might not even be able to withstand the soul power pressure of a rank 67 soul master if it was reduced by half. After Wang Feng thanked the three soul Dalu, he walked back. He was also feeling very refreshed. However, Wang Feng would remember this favor. After the Grandmaster, Flinder, and the others discussed with the three soul Dalu, they decided to return to their own courtyards. However, just as they stood up, a loud voice sounded from outside. Is the Dream God Machine's leader here? I, Xuexing, have something to visit you about today. His voice was loud and clear, with a tinge of arrogance. His tone was not very respectful towards the Dream Divine Machine. The Dream God Machine's expression changed. It exchanged a look with the other two soul Dalu before quickly walking out of the courtyard. They saw three people standing in front of them. The one who spoke was dressed in an incomparably noble and gorgeous robe. He was in high spirits and had a decent appearance. Although he was an old man, he had an arrogant demeanor and an extraordinary aura. With a single glance, one could tell that he was an influential person who had been in a high position for a long time. Beside this elder was the young man who had been kicked away by Wang Feng yesterday. Right now, there was a fierce look in his eyes. There was another elder standing to the right of this elder. This is Douluo, right? Wang Feng thought to himself. The poisoned Douluo. He was a titled Douluo. He was floating in midair and didn't step on the ground. Even the three soul Douluo didn't sense his arrival. This person's face was a little stiff, just like the Grandmaster. However, he was tall and slender and stood upright like a bamboo pole. His eyes shone with green light, and they were like crystals. He was very eye-catching. Although he was dressed very casually and didn't care about his appearance, he was even more imposing than Prince Xuexing. What's the matter, Your Highness? The Dream God Machine looked at the three of them and walked forward. He calmed down and asked slowly, There's no hurry. Since you have guests here, why don't you introduce them to me? Prince Xuexing looked at Flinder and the others and said, After hearing this, the Dream God Machine's heart skipped a beat. He could roughly guess the purpose of Prince Xuexing's visit. Flinder and the others weren't stupid. They roughly knew what was going on when they saw the young man. Prince Shueshing was here to cause trouble. The dream god machine's face darkened, and he quickly explained Flinder and the others' identities. You brought your students here to teach? After hearing this, Prince Shueshing laughed. With such good conditions, I'm sure these teachers and their students must be extraordinary. However, the three of you don't count just because you've tested them. The Heaven Do Imperial Academy represents His Majesty's will and the dignity of the royal family. In a chapter. Chapter 194. You also need to obtain the approval of our royal family. Coincidentally, Mr. Douluo, who is beside me, can be the real examiner for everyone. He can test everyone's strength and talent and see if they are worthy of the generous conditions offered by the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. As long as you can last 5 minutes against Mr. Douluo, I am willing to accept those conditions on behalf of the royal family. Otherwise, get out of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. The moment he said this, the courtyard became abnormally quiet. Flinder and the others were both shocked and furious, especially Shrek's 7 monsters. How could they tolerate such humiliation? Don't move. This Mr. Douluo is the titled Poison Douluo. Wang Feng held back Dai Mubai and the others so that they wouldn't be hurt for nothing. Titled Douluo? Dai Mubai was stunned. Could be Douluo? Poison Douluo? They all drew in a breath of cold air. Even though he hadn't seen her personally, he knew that she was a titled Douluo. Could he really be the Poison Douluo? Prince Shueshing, you are too much. Dream Shinji was furious. You say that you represent the royal family. Do you have His Majesty's orders? Dream Shinji, although I don't have His Majesty's orders, I have the right to choose the Academy's personnel. Prince Shueshing said. Cut the crap. Furthermore, one of his students kicked Avalanche. Even if Avalanche was in the wrong, he is still a member of the royal family. How can he be humiliated like this? I have already given them enough face. Dream Shinji was speechless. Mr. Douluo? Sorry to trouble you. Prince Shueshing looked at the green-haired elder and said respectfully. The green-haired elder nodded slightly and walked to the center of the courtyard. 9 soul rings rose from his body. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black. They were extremely dazzling. He really is a titled Douluo. Dai Mubai and the others muttered. The 3-soul Douluo's expressions changed drastically. A titled Douluo was far stronger than a soul Douluo. It seemed like there was only a difference of 1 soul ring, but the difference in strength was like heaven and earth. Your body reeks of blood. It seems like you're the famous Poison Douluo. Grandmaster's expression was solemn, but his eyes were calm. Flinder's expression was even worse. The 7 people behind him were even more unsightly. Douluo seemed to be surprised that the master had recognized him. He laughed and said, I didn't expect that there would be people who recognize me. Why don't you all show me your strength? As Douluo's voice sounded, everyone fell silent. At this moment, Little 3, stand in front of Xiao Wu. Wang Feng whispered to Tang San. Tang San was stunned, but he found that Xiao Wu was trembling all over at this time, as if she was trying her best to endure the pain around her. Hearing Wang Feng's words, he hurriedly stepped forward to protect Xiao Wu and block the view of others. He thought that Xiao was unable to withstand the Poison Douluo's aura, so he didn't think much of it. Wang Feng frowned. If this continued, he might really expose Xiao Wu's identity. Strength? Take a few. Not to mention Flinder and the others. Even if a few more came, it would be useless. Let's scram. Although the master was furious, he still spoke calmly. Get lost? Get lost just like that? Flinder's eyes were bloodshot. Then what about our academy's reputation? Don't tell me you want to let these children get out in such humiliation? What else can we do? Master said coldly. Do you want to fight? Together, can we beat them? Won't we just be wasting our lives? Where there's life, there's hope. Haven't we learned this when we were young? Flinder couldn't say anything. Wang Fengxin was also a little angry, and he wasn't the only one. The others felt the same. At this moment, the 3-soul Douluo stepped forward and said coldly, Douluo, the 3 of us are here to see what you're capable of. Prince Shueshing, remember what happened today. Although you have the right to choose, You didn't listen to the three of us. When the time comes, we'll definitely impeach you." After speaking, the three-souled Douluos stepped forward. They immediately released their martial souls. The Dream Divine Machine's martial soul was a streak of black fog, with 2 yellow, 3 purple, and 2 black. The other 2 soul Douluo's soul rings were the same. Compared to Douluo, there was a gap from his 5th soul ring. At this moment, the 4 of them faced each other, and the atmosphere was very tense. Prince Xuexing was also stunned. He didn't expect the 3 education committee members to stand up for these people from Shrek Academy. At this moment, he started to regret his decision. However, it was impossible for him to back down now. Seeing this, Shrek and the rest fell silent. Flinder was about to speak. Wang Feng, who had been standing at the side, stepped forward first and said plainly, "Thank you, seniors, for standing up for us. However, this is Shrek Academy's matter. If we continue to trouble the 3 seniors, we will feel very apologetic in our hearts." His voice wasn't loud, but it echoed throughout the entire place. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Even the Grandmaster didn't know what Wang Feng wanted to do. At this moment, Wang Feng spoke again. "We can choose not to join Heavendo Imperial Academy, but it's impossible for us to leave Shrek. When we came with our heads held high. When we leave, we'll leave with our heads held high. We won't be forced to leave by you." His sonorous and forceful words fell into everyone's ears. Leave is leave. You still want to leave with your head held high? Do you think Heavendo Imperial Academy is a marketplace? The youth beside Prince Xuexing couldn't help but mock. "Who do you think you are?" Wang Feng ignored the youth. He walked in front of the 3-soul Douluo and looked at Douluo Sr. "Your title Daw. I'm only at rank 36 this year. I can't even last 5 minutes against you. However, if I may be so bold, I'd like to ask for your guidance. You're titled Poison Douluo, so you're most proficient in poisons. However, if I can survive your poison, or if I can survive another one of your attacks, then can you let our Shrek Academy leave Heavendo Imperial Academy with our heads held high?" After he finished speaking, Wang Feng looked at the poison Daw with a burning gaze. The air fell into an incomparable silence. Everyone's eyes fell on this young man. Shock, horror, and ridicule appeared on everyone's faces. The 3-soul Douluo looked at Wang Feng in disbelief. They couldn't believe that a 13-year-old child would dare to say such words. Everyone from Shrek Academy was even more astonished as they watched on. Grandmaster Flinder and the others were also in disbelief. However, after hearing Wang Feng's words, the blood in their hearts that had been dormant for many years seemed to be ignited again. Shrek's 7 monsters behind them felt their scalps go numb. Their blood surged through their bodies. Other than Xiao Wu, who was in a very bad state, everyone looked at Wang Feng with burning eyes. "The backbone of our Shrek Academy can't be bent by anyone." Wang Feng turned around to look at the soul, Daw, and the others. His words seemed to have ignited their blood. Wang Feng, Ning Rongrong looked at him. Her heart was filled with passion. She couldn't wait to step forward. "Brother Feng is right. The backbone of our Shrek Academy can't be bent by anyone." Tang Sen looked coldly at Prince Xuexing. "Even if we have to leave, we have to walk with our heads held high." Zhu Zhuqing's face turned red. She took a deep breath and looked at Wang Feng. She was silent, but the excitement in her eyes betrayed her. Oscar, Dai Mu Bai, and Ma Hongjuan's blood rushed to their heads. Their faces turned red. Douluo was also stunned. After hearing this, he laughed. He seemed to be disdainful, but he also seemed to be a little surprised. After that, he nodded slightly and said, "Sure. However, 1 move isn't enough. At least 2 moves. Okay, there's more tonight in a chapter." Chapter 195. At least 2 moves. All right. This short answer, without any hesitation, came almost a second after Douluo had finished speaking. After saying that, even Douluo was stunned again. This was the most miraculous thing he had seen since becoming a title Dalu. A rank 36 soul elder wanted to ask for guidance from a title Dalu. Not only did he not die from his poison, but he also wanted to survive 2 moves from Douluo, just so that the Shrek Academy could walk out of the Heaven Do Academy with their heads held high. Of course, the so-called raising one's head and sticking out one's chest was not just a superficial meaning. It was also a form of dignity. Our Shrek Academy wasn't chased away by you. We wanted to leave on our own accord. The difference was more than 10 million. I'll give you a few minutes. None of the teachers behind you can take a single drop of my Jade Qilin Snake Emperor's poison. Douluo looked at Wang Feng with admiration, but also pity. Flinder and the others' faces turned black, but they couldn't refute him. Prince Xuexing opened his mouth. He wanted to say something, but decided against it. A rank 36 soul elder couldn't take the Jade Qilin Snake Emperor's poison, let alone take 2 moves from Douluo. You want to walk out of the Heaven Do Academy with your head held high? Dream on. After hearing Wang Feng's words, the young man at the side laughed and looked at Wang Feng mockingly. He couldn't understand how such a foolish youth could dare to ask for guidance from a titled Douluo. He even made such an impossible request. He's a good kid. The Dream Shinji sighed. Just by saying that Shrek Academy's spine cannot be bent, who knows how many students from our academy will surpass them. Regardless of the outcome, just this point alone is something that those nobles cannot compare to. It's a pity that he was rejected by Prince Xuexing. Ji Lin said angrily. How foolish. This kid is so young, but he has such strength of character. No wonder the Shrek Academy can nurture such a monstrous genius. I wonder when our Heaven Do Academy will have a student like him. Bai Baoshan shook his head and sighed. The 3 of them didn't think much about the result. There was no way that a rank 36 soul elder could withstand 2 attacks from a titled Douluo, and there was no way that he could withstand the poison Douluo's poison. A premature death was inevitable. However, his unyielding character was admirable and praiseworthy. Dayoung, Wang Fengxin thought to himself, although it was because of the extreme anger in his heart that he stood up and said those words. However, Wang Fengxin naturally had his own plans. Wang Feng didn't think too much about it. He took a deep breath, and the golden lotus on his palm blossomed. A deep purple soul ring revolved around the golden lotus. Deification. Wang Feng growled, and one of the golden lotus petals surrounded by lightning shattered into strands of golden light, landing on Wang Feng's body. Using deification, Wang Feng's entire body was instantly filled with lightning. His entire body shone with golden light, as if a celestial being had descended into the world, emitting a brilliant radiance. "Senior, please," Wang Feng said calmly as he withdrew his golden lotus. The reason why he didn't release all of his soul rings was because Prince Xuexing and the young man were present. These 2 people had ulterior motives. Once he released them, they would cause a lot of trouble for him if they spread rumors. The people from the Shrek Academy were all trustworthy. The 3 Soul Douluo were also respected seniors. However, he had to be wary of these 2 people. They weren't surprised that he had a 1,000-year soul ring. As a soul elder, a genius would naturally have a purple 1,000-year soul ring. Apart from the people from the Shrek Academy, everyone else thought that this was Wang Feng's 3rd soul ring. However, they didn't know that Wang Feng's different forms of green lotuses had their own soul rings. He could control his soul rings individually to confuse his enemies. Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor. Seeing this, Douluo didn't hesitate. Although it was a little strange that his opponent didn't release all of his soul rings, who didn't have secrets. If he didn't release all of his soul rings, he couldn't blame anyone if he died. A huge jade-green snake suddenly appeared behind Douluo. A strong stench spread from the martial's soul to the surroundings. Its green body breathed in and out a purple mist as if it could devour life. "Go!" Douluo snorted coldly. The Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor directly spat out an extremely dense poisonous fog at Wang Feng. Douluo clearly controlled it very well. The poisonous fog only sprayed towards Wang Feng. The others had already dispersed and weren't affected at all. However, The extremely dense stench made the girls from the Shrek Academy feel like vomiting. It was extremely uncomfortable. Just by smelling it, one would feel dizzy. Even Flinder and the others had to circulate their soul power to resist the poison brought about by this smell. What a terrifying poison. Zhao Wuji's face turned green. Tang-san, can you detoxify this poison? Tang-san looked at the Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor's poison solemnly. Compared to Duguyan's Jade Unicorn Purple Poison from the Imperial Battle Team, this poison was much more potent. Dugu Bo's Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor's poison was simply on the level of a grandfather. They couldn't be compared at all. Furthermore, the poison was related to one's cultivation. With Dugu Bo's strength, even a Soul Douluo wouldn't be able to resist this Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor's poison. Looking at Wang Feng, who was shrouded in the poisonous fog, their faces turned pale. Wang Feng, Ning Rongrong's face was deathly pale. She was very excited and hot-blooded just now, but when she really made a move, she saw Wang Feng wrapped in the poisonous fog. Her heart clenched tightly. It can be detoxified, but it will take time. It's just that I don't know if Brother Feng can hold on. With this poison, a rank 36-old elder won't even be able to hold on for a second or two before turning into a pool of blood. Tang San was very straightforward. If it was only Duguyan's poison, with Brother Feng's strength, even if he took it head-on, he would be able to hold on for a long time. But Dugubo was different. Obviously, he didn't hold back and didn't care if you were a junior or not. He was the poison Douluo, and he was ruthless to begin with. Why would he care about this? Hearing Tang San's words, the others couldn't help but want to turn their heads away. They couldn't bear to watch anymore. Flinder wanted to stop them, but he was stopped by the master. Xiao Gang, Flinder said agitatedly. Wang Feng is right, I know. But even if I don't want the backbone of the Shrek Academy, I can't let a child bear all this. If you make a move now, it's equivalent to letting Xiao Feng bear all this for nothing. The master glanced at him indifferently. I'm also worried, but at this time, waiting for the results is the only thing we can do. Have some confidence in him. Flinder sighed dejectedly. He hated that he wasn't a titled, he should have turned into a pile of dregs, right? The youth curled his lips. Prince Xuexing frowned and didn't say anything. He only glared at Avalanche. Sometimes he had to admit that the quality and character this child displayed was many times better than Avalanche's. Chapter 196. Unfortunately, their statuses were different. Since they were on the opposite side, he wouldn't show any mercy. There were many geniuses on the continent. So what if two of them died? Everyone watched attentively. After a full 30 seconds, Dugabo seemed to think it was about time. Even a rank 70 soul sage would die from the poison in 30 seconds. But just as Dugabo withdrew the poison mist, a familiar voice suddenly sounded. Senior, it seems that this junior can still withstand your poison. This voice was like a thunderclap. It resounded in everyone's ears. The poison mist dissipated. The golden figure was still standing in the same place. His posture was like a javelin, full of shock. His tone seemed to be trembling, and his face was slightly green, but it was not a big deal. He didn't die from the poison, nor did he turn into a pool of blood. Wang Feng was still standing in the same place. Everyone was stunned. Only Tang San and Zhu Zhuqing watched with flickering eyes. Sure enough, it's the deified soul skill, the effect of immunity to poison. Tang San muttered. The deified soul skill obtained a new effect when Wang Feng upgraded his first soul ring from 6,000 years to 8,000 years, and that was poison immunity. The first time it was used was when Wang Feng and Zhu Zhuqing fought against Tang San and Xiao Wu. But at that time, only Tang San felt that Zhu Zhuqing, who was supported by the deified soul skill, was immune to the poison of his blue silver grass. After that, he didn't test it again, because soul masters who came into contact with poison were very rare. Brother Feng usually didn't participate in their team battles. Occasionally, a few people would use the deified soul skill to experience the feeling of flying. The effect of being immune to poison was not surprising. But what shocked Tang San was that the deified soul skill was only the first soul skill, a 1,000-year soul skill. Even if it was immune to poison, how could it be completely immune to the Jade Kirin Snake Emperor poison used by a titled Douluo? However, when Tang San saw Wang Feng's face turn slightly green, he realized Brother Feng was poisoned, but it was very weak. He was mostly immune to the deified soul skill. Therefore, it was not a big deal at all. The effect of a soul skill is generally proportional to the soul master's rank. Big Brother Feng is only rank 36, but this soul skill can make him immune to poison. It's the bane of all poison-type soul masters on the continent. Tang Sen thought to himself. Zhu Zhuqing was the first to experience a deified soul skill, and the worry in her eyes finally lessened a little. At this moment, as Douluo's poison mist was absorbed back into his body, everyone looked at Wang Feng in a daze. Even Douluo stared at Wang Feng. A hint of curiosity appeared on his stiff face. No wonder you dare to stand out and ask me for advice. So your soul skill is immune to poison. But for the next two moves, I won't show any mercy. He naturally had a good eye for things. His opponent had used his first soul skill, and he was still in this state. Evidently, it was a soul skill that allowed him to be immune to poison. It had to be said that the poison Douluo was still somewhat of a nemesis. However, Douluo was still astonished. The soul skill of a rank 36 soul elder was actually immune to the poison of a titled Douluo. Even though it was just the Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor's poison that didn't have any soul skills, it was still extremely powerful. But it was still abnormal enough. After knowing that this kid had a soul skill that allowed him to be immune to poison, Douluo didn't have any intention of using other soul skills. Most of his soul skills were related to poison. Since this kid was immune to poison, he could only use force. However, Wang Feng laughed in his heart as he looked at Douluo. Although Douluo had a terrifying poison martial soul, like the Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor, he was known as the weakest titled Douluo. It was undeniable that his ability to fight against a group was the strongest among titled Douluo. However, his overall ability, or individual ability, was very weak. Everything is within my expectations. Wang Feng took a deep breath. Douluo was a control-type titled Douluo. Once poison didn't work, the strength that he could unleash would be greatly reduced. This was because he didn't have many offensive abilities. Wang Feng remembered that Douluo's 8th and 9th soul skills combined could destroy an entire city. The most important thing was the poison. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do it. Furthermore, he couldn't use it in Heavendoe Imperial Academy. At this moment, a green light flashed across Douluo's eyes. His killing intent was so condensed that it seemed to materialize as he attacked Wang Feng. Since poison didn't work, then he would use force. The killing intent of a titled Douluo. Douluo, had killed countless people over the years. Against these low-ranked soul cultivators, a wave of killing intent was enough to directly kill them. This killing intent was similar to soul power suppression, but it wasn't completely. It was like the suppression of a superior to a subordinate. Sometimes, when he glared at you, you would feel a chill in your heart. Even rank 40 to 50 soul masters couldn't withstand the killing intent of a titled Douluo. They would be scared to death. Those who were slightly better would be severely injured. The formless killing intent was like a sharp arrow that landed on Wang Feng's body. Wang Feng groaned. His entire body shook, and he immediately closed his eyes. This killing intent was too strong, and it made one's heart palpitate. However, when it entered his consciousness, in his sea of consciousness, the black lotus silently bloomed and absorbed this killing intent. The other part was absorbed by the mysterious human-shaped martial soul that suddenly appeared. After the black lotus absorbed this killing intent, it blossomed with a dazzling light in Wang Feng's sea of consciousness, causing Wang Feng to seem to be covered in a layer of black light. Then, this killing intent was instantly converted into the purest energy. Charging complete. After the mysterious human-shaped martial soul absorbed it, it became more condensed. It seemed that it wasn't far from awakening. Wang Feng suddenly opened his eyes. A black light flashed across his eyes. He laughed loudly. "Thank you, Senior, for this second move." As soon as he finished speaking, the entire crowd was stunned. Dugu Yin was also stunned. After all, her killing intent didn't kill this rank 36 youth. He actually thanked her. This time, even the people from the Shrek Academy were completely stunned. Although they knew what form Wang Feng's martial soul had now, they only knew that there were 3 different forms of soul skills. They didn't know about the Golden Lotus's soul power increase, the Red Lotus karmic fire, the Black Lotus's absorption of various tyrannical auras, and so on. Especially the Black Lotus, even a master didn't know. They only knew that it was a defense-type soul skill. Therefore, at this moment, they couldn't understand why Wang Feng was able to withstand Dugu Bo's condensed killing intent. However, they were extremely shocked, because Wang Feng didn't suffer any injuries. Wang Feng felt great. Although Dugu Bo's murderous aura was much weaker than the Titan Giant Ape's furious aura, it was enough for him to charge his Black Lotus and slowly provide it for his cultivation. Moreover, that mysterious human-shaped martial soul seemed to like to absorb this kind of aura. It became clearer and clearer, and it would probably awaken soon. However, Wang Feng's words of gratitude angered Dugu Bo. Chapter 197. However, Wang Feng was not afraid. Poison was useless, and neither was killing intent. What else could he be here for? Dugu Bo's soul skills were mostly area of effect attacks, so he couldn't use them. This was also the reason why Wang Feng had stepped forward. Unless he used his martial soul true body to control the Jade Unicorn Serpent Emperor and severely injure him in close combat. However, he was a titled Dalu. Why would he use his martial soul true body against a rank 36 junior? There will also be soul bones. Wang Feng felt that it was impossible. But right at this moment, Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor, martial soul true body. In the next moment, Dugu Bo let out a low roar, and his black soul ring lit up. The Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor behind him suddenly opened its huge, malevolent mouth. A huge amount of energy was emitted from Dugu Bo's body. 7 soul rings immediately lit up, and Dugu Bo instantly transformed into a huge, jade-green snake that was at least 30 meters long. Wang Feng. Wang Feng had underestimated Dugu Bo's ruthlessness. Everyone was shocked. They had never expected Dugu Bo to use his martial soul true body. There was no other way. Dugu Bo saw that Wang Feng was immune to his poison and could even withstand his killing intent without suffering any damage. Why should he thank him? He was a little angry. A level 36 junior was thanking him? Are you mocking me, Dugu Bo? Therefore, he no longer hesitated and immediately unleashed his martial soul true body. He transformed into the Jade Unicorn Snake Emperor and circled around the courtyard. It was emitting an extremely terrifying aura. Immediately after, Dugu Bo swung his snake tail over. Most of his soul skills were area of effect attacks. He was smart enough to know that he couldn't use those soul skills in the academy. Furthermore, he was a control-type soul master, so his body wasn't as strong as Tang San's, and he didn't cultivate the mysterious heaven technique or anything of the sort. Dugu Bo's physique was relatively weak. He wasn't much better than those rank 70 or 80 assault-type beast martial soul masters. However, things were different once his martial soul true body was unleashed. Even a soul sage who was over rank 70 would die if he tried to take the blow with his physical body. This young man was only a class 36 soul exalt. That was enough to kill him several times over. Holy shit, are you serious? Wang Feng was truly shocked. Dugu Bo, did you not care about your status at all? Cold sweat was dripping down Wang Fengxin's forehead. The Sword Dalu was a man who cared about his own status, so he wouldn't bicker with a junior like Tang Wuling. However, Dugu Bo was extremely vicious and merciless. As expected of the poisoned Dalu, he decided to use force when poison didn't work. He didn't have the slightest intention of being polite. The snake's tail, which was as thick as a water bucket, swept towards Wang Feng. A strong gust of wind blew, causing the surrounding trees to rustle and sway. Those with lower cultivations were even blown backwards. Flinder and the others stared blankly at this moment, unable to do anything to stop it. However, after Wang Feng was frightened, he heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the tail attack. Although Douluo didn't care about status, it was fortunate that he didn't have a clear understanding of himself. This tail is very strong, but I can resist it even if I don't use my black lotus to use my thorny lotus. Furthermore, she was only a control type titled Dalu and not a true assault type. That was what he thought. Boom! The huge tail swept towards Wang Feng's body. At the instant of contact, a terrifying force rippled out from Wang Feng's chest. Wang Feng's face turned red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body glided across the ground as if he was walking in space and crashed into a large tree at the edge of the courtyard. Boom! This tree seemed to be unable to withstand the force of Wang Feng's crash, and it collapsed to the ground with a loud crack. That tail also seemed to be affected by the huge force, and it bounced back, causing Douluo's expression to change drastically. When it came into contact with Wang Feng's chest, he felt a terrifying force that wasn't inferior to his own transmitted through the snake's tail. It even weakened his martial soul true body. It was very strange. However, Wang Feng didn't collapse. He was like a roly-poly toy as he swayed on the spot a few times. Countless pairs of eyes stared at Wang Feng's body. Their gazes followed Wang Feng's swaying as they stared at him. When they saw that Wang Feng had finally stopped swaying, the entire place suddenly quieted down. He didn't die. Wang Feng didn't collapse. He forced himself to stand and stuttered, "Senior, you're indeed very powerful. Senior is indeed powerful. This junior is ashamed of his inferiority. I barely managed to withstand that attack. However, this junior did not die. Now, I have one, right?" Blood flowed out from his mouth, but his voice was still very clear. After he finished speaking, he used his sleeve to wipe the blood from his mouth, and it splattered on the ground, forming a flower of blood. Douluo's expression was extremely gloomy as he looked at this young man in front of him. He finally understood why this young man dared to ask for his guidance, and why he dared to withstand 2 of his attacks. Although he didn't use his full strength in his second attack, and he wasn't an assault-type titled Dalu who specialized in offense, the strength of his tail was definitely not small. It wasn't something a soul exalt of the 36 stratagems could resist. However, he was a little uncomfortable from the force of the tail's rebound, and he was also a little weak. This young man wasn't simple. He wasn't simple at all. Douluo snorted coldly and withdrew his martial soul true body. He walked back to Prince Shuexing's side. At this moment, Ning Rongrong and the others hurriedly rushed over to Wang Feng and helped him up. "Seniors, thank you for standing up for us today." Wang Feng looked at Meng Xinji and the others, who were already in a daze, and revealed a smile on his pale face. "However, I think we can leave the Heaven Do Academy with our heads held high and not be chased away by threats." After he finished speaking, Wang Feng fainted, as if his life was at stake. When they heard this, Shrek and the others felt sour in their hearts. What did this name represent? It meant that the Shrek Academy's spine was straight, and they would walk out of the Heaven Do Academy with their heads held high. "Seniors, I didn't expect to cause you so much trouble today. I'll take my leave now. Flinder will visit you again in the future." Flinder sighed at Meng Xinji and the others, and carried Wang Feng on his back. He didn't want to stay any longer, and said, "Child, let's go." Flinder's last sentence was extremely loud and clear. Prince Shuexing and the young man's faces were pale, and they couldn't say anything. They could only watch as the group of people walked out of the Heaven Do Academy. When they walked past Prince Shuexing and the young man, they raised their heads and puffed out their chests proudly. On the contrary, the 2 of them were like generals who had lost a battle. They didn't even dare to raise their heads. "Prince Shuexing," Meng Xinji looked coldly at the prince. "If His Majesty finds out that you caused the Heaven Do Academy to lose such a talented soul master, I wonder how he'll punish you? You're only at rank 36, and you're able to withstand 2 of the poison Douluo's attacks, and you're immune to his poison. Prince Xuexing, this might be the stupidest thing you've ever done in your life. Chapter 198. Jilin also stepped forward and said. The other chubby by Baoshan laughed with a mocking look on his face. Humph. So what if he's a genius soul master? He's not going to live. Prince Xuexing said stubbornly. Wang Feng did not look like he was going to live. Meng Xinji and the other 2 turned around and returned to the hall. Grandfather, a beautiful figure appeared in the distance and jumped into Douluo's arms. What happened just now? Where's the Shrek Academy? And Tang San, the one who cured my aquamarine purple poison. Did you see him? She was Douluo, the control-type soul master of the Imperial battle team. As she spoke, Douluo whispered a few words into Douluo's ear. Not long after, Douluo raised his head with a gloomy expression and looked at Tang San and Wang Feng in the distance. Grandfather, why do you look so pale? Douluo asked softly. There was a huge commotion just now. Did you do it? Grandpa, did you hurt them? You mustn't harm their lives, At most, you can teach them a lesson. Douluo's mouth twitched. Damn it, I wanted to kill him, but I didn't succeed. However, he doesn't look like he's going to live for long. He didn't die on the spot, but he's going to die soon, at this moment. Qin Ming, who had been watching from the side, walked out. He looked at the 3 teachers and said, Seniors, I'm sorry. Thank you for your support over the past few years. However, I think I'll have to leave the Heavendo Academy. Hearing this, Meng Xinji and the other 2 teachers turned to look at Qin Ming in shock. Even Prince Xuexing was stunned. Qin Ming's status in the Heavendo Academy was second only to the 3 teachers. The reason was simple. He had the chance to become a titled Douluo before the age of 60. Qin Ming's status was very special because of this. A future titled Douluo? Are you afraid? Prince Xuexing was filled with regret. Given the strength and implications that Wang Feng had displayed, even if he did not know what had happened in the guest hall. However, he could feel it. Wang Feng's potential was even more terrifying than Qin Ming's. Although he might not be alive now. But now, even Qin Ming was leaving. She was a future titled Douluo. Teacher Qin, Prince Xuexing will receive the punishment he deserves. Please reconsider. The dream god machine hurriedly walked over and tried to persuade him to stay. Qin Ming shook his head and sighed. That kid called Wang Feng said it well. The backbone of Shrek Academy can't be bent. He would rather die than be bent, but I think if I continue to stay in this academy, my spine will never be able to straighten up. Thank you, seniors, for taking care of me all these years. It's time for Qin Ming to leave. Today there's Shrek Academy, and tomorrow there might be Slime Academy as well. I can't stand it, and I don't want to see such a situation again. I don't want to stay in an academy that can't even stand straight. This is my bottom line. As he spoke, Qin Ming turned around and left, and he didn't turn back to take another look. As Qin Ming left, Prince Xuexing's heart turned cold. He left with the young man, who had already lost his mind. Uncle, will His Majesty really blame you tomorrow? The young man asked in a trembling voice. Yes. Not only that, even your fight for the throne will be difficult. Prince Xuexing muttered. Avalanche, I originally wanted to help you weaken the strength of those 3 teachers. Otherwise, when the Shrek Academy joins in, you won't have any chance. But I didn't expect that one person would break the situation and use such a method to ruin it. I can only say that it's fate. Fortunately, that youth won't live for long. Prince Xuexing let out a long sigh. In the courtyard. What happened just now? Douluo asked curiously. Douluo naturally wouldn't say it. Such a shameful thing. If he said it out loud, he would be laughed at, let alone in front of his granddaughter. He was only thinking in his heart, how did that youth from the Shrek Academy reflect such a terrifying power? That tail swing could even kill a rank 60 or 70 soul master in one move, and he only used one soul skill. But in the situation just now, that kid should be on his last breath. I really don't know where this monster came from. There must be something strange about his chest. Douluo thought to himself, and that guy called Tang San, if I have the chance, I'll catch him and take a look. After Flinder and the others brought Wang Feng down from the Heaven Do Academy, they were very quiet, but they couldn't hide the excitement and agitation on their faces. Wang Feng, nothing can happen to you. There were tears in Ning Rongrong's eyes. She looked at Wang Feng, who was gasping for breath and seemed to be on his last breath. The rest of the people remained silent. Brother Feng should be fine. Xiao Wu patted her chest. Her face was still a little pale. Brother Feng had attracted everyone's attention just now, including that titled Douluo. Otherwise, she might have been discovered. Zhu Zhuqin grabbed Wang Feng's sleeve slightly, then released it and pursed her lips. He'll be fine. Tang San held Wang Feng's hands and frowned. Strange, Brother Feng's body doesn't seem to be very seriously injured. But why does it seem like he's going to die? Tang San was slightly proficient in the art of poison. He also knew a little about the art of medicine. If I hadn't used my martial soul true body, that tail would have killed me, Zhao Wuji said. I didn't expect little Feng to be able to survive. But, however, it was obvious that Wang Feng was on his last breath. Flinder carried Wang Feng on his back and didn't say anything. Wang Feng collapsed after they walked a little further. He quickly carried Wang Feng out of the Heaven Do Academy's territory. Dean, wait, why can't I feel Brother Feng's breathing? Ning Rongrong, who had been by Flinder's side, cried out. Everyone stopped in their tracks and looked at Wang Feng when they heard that. At this moment, Wang Feng suddenly opened his eyes and jumped off Flinder's back. He then rubbed his chest and frowned. It hurts. Saying that, Wang Feng used his golden lotus and cast a healing effect on himself. Not long after, his face slowly became rosy. But they rubbed their chests in different ways. Everyone was speechless. Everyone was stunned. Brother Feng, you're fine? Xiao Wu stammered. What's going on? Wasn't Big Brother Feng on his last breath just now? What can happen to me? Wang Feng said angrily. I would have recovered from that attack. I just didn't want to show it in Douluo's range. If he knew about that tail attack, he wouldn't be able to take it lying down if I wasn't injured. To be honest, if that tail had hit Wang Feng's head or lower limbs, Wang Feng would have been seriously injured and passed out. Unfortunately, it had hit the Xianming armor. The Xianming armor was too strong. The sword doll couldn't even hurt him when he kicked him without using his soul power. Right now, Hui Yuhao's rank had increased once again. If Douluo wanted to use his mysterious underworld armor to kill Hui Yuhao with his tail, he would be looking down on Hui Yuhao's current physique and his 30,000-year external soul bone. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.